Welcome to the stream, my friends. I thought we'd take a few minutes here to recap everything that went on at TwitchCon, which there was good, there was bad, and a lot of good times and bad times, but it was still overall a good time. And plus, I got this at MCC. Come on, look at how cool this is. This is the zoo hat. Look at this. So, the person who created this did such a fantastic job. The problem is, they were escorting me out of there like I had committed a crime, and they had come over to give it to me, and I didn't even get a chance to ask their name, but they were so nice and they did such a fantastic job. Like, it is so well made and well designed. Like, it's so sturdy. Like, this thing is sturdy as can be. Like, I don't want to give it like a hit, but like this could take a hit by a creeper. It is so cool. I love this thing. I love it. And when I get my new studio, I'm gonna have some shelves in the back. Look, hot guy too, just to remember your inner hot guy. I'm gonna have like some great shelves, and it's gonna look so cool up there. It's gonna be amazing. But yeah, so I thought we'd talk about TwitchCon, and I'm gonna leave some of the accessibility concerns kind of the end. Let's talk about maybe some more of the positives and the fun we had before we kind of get to that, because I did talk to Twitch, and I laid out as many like concerns that I had, and of course the audience. Like, I spent a lot of time looking through all the emails, all the messages. I might not have replied to everybody, but I read through every single message and email. It was like, I don't remember the words that I am trying to find in my head. So yeah, I think one thing I went into that meeting with Twitch about was that, yes, it's easy to complain, but I wanted to at least come with the solutions. At least my solutions, either they be realistic or unrealistic, at least there were like a solution. Like, for instance, just before we get to the main thing, I just want to give you like an example. Like, there was a viewer that their scooter that they rented broke down, and then they were kind of like, oh, we have nobody to like contact, and nobody knew what they were doing. It was a whole thing. And I'm like, a simple solution to this would be to have a number given to the renter, and they could call that, and then somebody at the rental like scooter shop could come running up there, right, and be like, oh, let's fix this up. Or like there's like a tag hanging from it that they could be like, oh, let's just call that number, boom. Or like the staff could look at it and call, hey, we need to fix up here, something like that. It's like super simple solution, I think, to fix said problem. The tag on the scooter was with a number, yeah. But yeah, it's like, that's a solution. Like, the second solution I had was like, they need like a disability coordinator, so that when when something arises, like, they can have somebody come. So I was trying to like come to some solutions that they could have. They seem to be really receptive, and they wrote down everything that I said and listened. So we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, TwitchCon. All right, so where do we want to start? Oh, let's start where my dad's favorite part of TwitchCon is when I made a flight that leaves at 6:50 a.m. Departure. You had to be on the plane by 6:15 or something, like 6:20 something for boarding. Yeah, 6:50 a.m. departure. That means the plane takes off, like, woo, into the sky. My dad hates me. No, he doesn't hate me, but I will never do that again, guys. That was a mistake, and I won't do that. Look, here, let me show you guys. Let me show you. Let me go to game screen.
Hello there.
Oh my God, it's my face.
To a
too
Scar
big.
Vlog.
Too
We
big.
have not done a Scar Vlog.
It's tired Scar too. Look at it.
We are so back.
This is great production value, guys. Hold on. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this. Hold on. This is the vlog. This is the vlog. Look at that face. Look at those eyes.
That requires.
So tired.
Thank you for showing up. We appreciate you. And welcome.
Wait, is everything playing at once? Are you guys hearing like multiple things? Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I mean, what do you guys expect from me? Okay, it should be fixed now, right? It stopped. Yeah, I think it was playing the panel. I think it was playing the panel. Okay, we don't need the sound on this video, but look at those eyes, guys. That's waking up at 3:30. I had 1 hour of sleep before that. Look at this. Look, my dad's just, oh my God, I can't believe we're up this early. But look at the shots. We got to show you the shots. Got to get the shots. Look at how beautiful Portland is. Look at this. Look at that over the Columbia River. The clouds on there. And look at these mountains. Aren't they cool? And then there's San Diego. Anyway. So, yes, we'll never, ever book a flight that early. Absolutely insane. Won't do that. So to get to the airport, right, we had to wake up at 3:30, and then we got to the airport. And if you have a disability, or even if you are, like, for instance, carrying something sensitive, like I think the list says like remains, cultural artifacts, things like that you really don't want the TSA to break or mishandle, you can set in a TSA cares appointment, right? So when you get to the airport, they give you a number and you call it and you're like, hello, it's wheelchair guy here. And somebody comes and they help you through. So it's more of like a supervisor at the checkpoint. This can vary. If you're at like a good airport like PDX, John Wayne, other ones, Seattle was actually really good. Nashville was horrible. LAX is horrible. But if you're at like a good airport, they will like come and they'll help you through the line. But I knew something was up.
310 tip $10. This donation is specifically for you to buy your dad a drink because he has earned it.
My dad.
Class Toys 186 tip $3. It looks like your cats are just as mischievous as me. Here's something to help get more cat toys to distract them with. XD.
That is so nice of you. I appreciate it. I don't know why. That just made me laugh. My dad doesn't drink, but I know I can get him something that he will really enjoy, for sure. For sure. That's so funny. Thank you so much for the tip. That's a delight. Thank you so much. And Blastos, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Really appreciate the tip. And like I said, guys, Blastos has been with us like pre-Hermitcraft. Like, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing really well. All right. So I realized something's up. Like the guy that I talked on the phone at Portland is usually really nice, not super nice. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like cross my fingers every time going through TSA that like the person that I'm going to get is going to be like nice. And so the supervisor brings us back and then he leaves. We just wait there for a little while. And like a super nice guy comes up and I'm like, because I have a lot of things that look dangerous and are scary. And I look scary. So I just need somebody to be chill and nice and cool so things don't get crazy. And this guy's great. He's just going on about Call of Duty because he asked where I'm off to. I'm going to go to TwitchCon. He's like, dude, you play Call of Duty? And we had a Call of Duty talk. He's like, dude, I get home from Call of Duty. I get the boys together and we play some COD. And I'm like, this is my guy. And then this other person comes over and he's like, and they'll take care of your bag. And then I'll do like the pat down, you know, the swabbies of the hands and things along those lines. And I had the audacity to ask, hey, could the person handling my bag, because there's medical equipment in there and things that need to be like clean, sterile, could they put a new pair of gloves on? And the person like turns to my head and just goes, they're new. All well holding the wheels of the bag, you know, the wheels that roll through the floor of the airport where people had just walked through bathrooms and God knows what. And I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be bad. Like this person looked at me with contempt. And all I said was put on some new gloves. And so they start. So he's doing this. We're talking about COD. We're having a good time. You know, he's nice. And another person arrives and they start just like ransacking my dad's bag. And my dad just has clothes in there, but my dad has a DBS in his brain. It's a whole thing. But so he has some of the equipment in his bag. Well, what happened was, what I figured out is that they didn't bring us through in a sense of like, because they brought us to an empty checkpoint line, they did not consider us pre-check, which we are. So, which I'm led to believe that if you were a pre-check, you can leave electronics in your bag. And so they start ripping his bag apart, looking through it and stuff like that. And I'm like, if they do that to my bag, we're gonna have a problem, because let me go to the slideshow, because I have really good production quality, guys. Yeah, it's not gonna work. There it is. This is packed so beautiful mountain. This is packed so delicately. So inside here, there is so much packed into there. And so they get to my bag, and the person turns back to me and it's like this. You know, you could just take the liquids out and put it in the conveyor belt. And I'm like, I may look like a hot guy. No, I didn't say that. I may look like a hot guy with big muscles, but I just said, like, I physically can't even lift that bag, let alone open that bag to pull those things out, because they always separate me from my dad. And the person doesn't really acknowledge anything. And Call of Duty guy is still talking about Call of Duty, by the way. He is still talking about his favorite maps, his favorite guns, which is weird, talking about like guns in the checkpoint. Like, I feel like if I brought that up, there would be a problem, but I'm going along with TSA guy because we're having a good time over here. And I'm like, and then I go, I've never been told to take out the medical liquids. And then they turn back. They always do this thing. It's new. And I'm like, where was the flyer? I'm like, I'm just trying to do my best here. Always try to, when you're in this situation, you have to be as calm and nice as possible. Kill them with don't kill them. Not in the TSA line. Another hug? No, don't touch them. Portray happiness and calmness as much as possible. As much as possible, right? So in Minecraft, yeah, in Minecraft. So just calmness. And I'm like, I don't know how to get that out. So they take this, they rip this bag apart, right? They take everything out of it. They individually, they x-ray the medical fluid. They'd never done this before. They individually x-ray that. They take out everything in here and then swab the bag, all the devices. Then they proceed, this is all out, all over the place. They proceed then to take my clothes on the other side out and individually like rub them down. There's a lot of rubbing, guys. We got everything rubbed down really nice. It was a full-on TSA massage of the clothes. Everything like got whatever. Then all of a sudden my like bag with all my batteries from my oxygen concentrator gets dumped out. And I'm like, we were there for like 45 minutes. Well, they took every individual thing out of there. And even the guy that did the pat down, once he finished, because he did like a full pat down or whatever, check the bag, all while bringing up Call of Duty. We're talking all COD. And then he just goes, woof, they're going to town. And then finally, like, it was 45 minutes of getting this bag ripped apart and then trying to pack it all back up in it. And then they just walk away finally and like leave this for us to kind of sort. And then the Call of Duty guy clearly knew that was a little much. He's like, little early for that, wasn't it? This guy was so funny. Oh, I loved him. It really does help to have at least one cool guy, like one cool guy. That helped. That helped get through it. If there wasn't COD guy, I would have been mad. I would have been much madder. But remember, when you're in these situations, all you could do is smile and nod. Because the second you get upset, the second you start questioning them, is when they like sit up like this. Do we need to call a supervisor over? Which has happened. So I know from experience. Just smile and nod. Be very nice. Be very calm. Be very calm. The only time I will get upset or stern is if it's a safety issue. So for instance, they once wanted me to just like take a swig of my heart medicine. And that's when I was like, let me explain. This is dosed out in very, very small doses. I cannot just take extra of said thing. Because there was a policy a while back that if you had like you know, like baby's milk or something along those lines, the person was required. This was like a long time ago to like taste it or something. And I told them like, they haven't done this in years and years and years and years. But I said, I cannot do that. The second instance I had to get stern with them was when they started unbuckling my straps. And it was kind of like a pause moment. It's like in the hospital, like we're gonna have a team pause here for safety. We got Scar here, you know, like in the hospital, often like procedure wise, before a procedure, they're like, let's do a team pause and make sure we're all on the same page. And that's what happened there. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You take this off, I'm gonna end up on the floor and you're gonna have to call you a mess. And then they got pretty upset. And that's when my brother used a choice word, and it got settled finally. But yeah, they just started just unbuckling stuff, and I'm like, dude, I put a lot of weight on this strap. There's a lot of weight here, and you unbuckle that, I could go flying. So that's the only time I ever get stern. Never mad, never mean, just stern. Like, hey, this is a safety issue, and if you're disabled and you're in situations like this. If you tell them, hey, let's pause, that's a safety issue. Generally, people do listen. In like airlines, TSA, airports and stuff, nobody wants to have an issue. So as long as it is like an actual safety issue, just say, whoa, this is a safety issue. I don't want you to deal with liability of me getting hurt. It's usually they'll stop and they'll like assess what they're about to do. That's a pro tip I've learned from getting on planes to going through TSA. So once we finally got packed up, we made it to the aeroplane and we were getting in and I met a fan. It was so nice. A really nice fan came up and I think they may have been going to TwitchCon. They were super nice and they had the person helping me onto the aircraft take a photo, and then the person who took the photo was like, are you on Hermitcraft? Are you Scar? And I'm like, yeah, I'm Scar. So that made up for all the nonsense at TSA, meeting two super nice viewers, and the person who helped us on the plane was very kind. And so yeah, got on the plane. It's never easy getting on the plane, but I'll say this. In the last like 5 years, airports have gotten a new aisle chair. So if you have wobbly legs and you can't do the walk-in, they put you in a really skinny chair like this, and then they strap you up. And because I have like my oxygen concentrator, this is just my headphone, but like my oxygen concentrator, or I have my feeding tubes and stuff like that. So what happens is like I put my cushion for my chair on, then I put those bags on top of me, and then we go in. So then we go into the aircraft, and it went smooth because these new aisle chairs are actually comfortable. Well, as comfortable as sitting on it'd be like sitting on like a hard board, strapped up like this. But they're way more comfortable and they're a lot easier to get like strapped up these days. They're just like buckles that go over and clip instead of like individual straps they used to have to put on. The first one I ever saw was at LAX, which LAX has a lot of problems, but they have some of the absolute best wheelchair helpers there that help you on and off the aircraft. They have always been the best. Hopefully they still are. I haven't been to LAX since 2019, but in 2017, 18, and 19, they were always fantastic. Anyway, we get on the aircraft, we get through that hall.
Catootla cheered X300. One day you will be so famous you'll be whisked through all the airport controls. This is good times with Scar. Make way, make way.
Make way. Oh no. I blend in. I have my mask on. I just want to be left alone. That's my life. I just want to be left alone. So we sit down, right? And get in there and have the nicest flight attendants. Like my brother's wife is a flight attendant, so I kind of what flight attendants deal with. And so one thing I learned, pro tip, there's 2 pro tips for flying I've learned. Be really nice to the gate agent, because they're going to make your life miserable if you're a wheelchair user. I've learned this. Not that I was ever mean to them, but you got to be extra nice to them because we'll talk about what happens on the way home. And last year, my God. But one thing, pro tip, never, ever go up to a gate agent when they're logging onto their computer. That is a sin. If they go up to their computer, like right before the flight, and they're like, they're cracking the knuckles, and they go up to there and they start typing and you show up, they want to shoot you in Minecraft. Like they want to shoot you with a bow and arrow in Minecraft. So you wait for them to settle. And then you see them kind of look around, and that's when you pounce, and that's when you go up. And if you're in a wheelchair, I found that gate agents appreciate if you go up to them and remind them that you need a assistance with like aisle chair and full assist. That way they have time to like call people over and have them there in case something got crossed wire-wise, and make sure that you have time to like fill out the paperwork. Alaska now requires a ton of paperwork for wheelchairs and batteries because I'm like a walking lithium battery, and I am just a walking like fire hazard, I guess, at this point. Because everything had to get like documented because I bring pretty large like batteries, lithium batteries, and there's ones in my push assist, and then there's ones in that are pretty big, and then the oxygen concentrator had a number of batteries, so they had to document that all, but so it just took a while. So that's my key to dealing with a gate agent, to not make them be upset with you. But the flight attendants on the plane were awesome. Like they were the nicest group. They were like some older ladies that just do turns. They just go from Portland to somewhere and come back. And she's like, we just fly somewhere and we fly back, and I go pick up my daughter. Like they have so much seniority that they like, we try to fly together. They were nice, and they actually did a wheelchair safety briefing. I've only had 2 ever in all the times I've flown, ever a wheelchair safety briefing, which is required by airlines, according to my brother's ex-girlfriend, who is his wife now. So they I don't know why I made that joke. I made that joke one time. I don't think it's very funny, but I thought it was funny. Ex-girlfriend, wife now. But they're supposed to do that. And she did. I was like, oh, I appreciate you. Like, she's like, if this comes down, and she's like, and if we go down, I liked how like frank she was. Like, how do you want to get taken off the aircraft? And I go, well, I'll probably pull these cords, and I would assume that maybe my dad would drag me. And I'm like, heck, if you had the time, you could grab my feet, and we'd be all set. And just, I think I said, just give me one good toss, and I'll slide right out. But that's a good way to say wife. That was a long time ago I made that joke. I don't know why it came into my head. So then the flight was a mess because the oxygen concentrator we rented, they gave us 2 batteries that only lasted 20 minutes, and they're supposed to last like an hour and 20 or so. So we instantly, like the concentrator was like, by the time we had hit the air, we were already struggling. Like we were already struggling. It was rough, but I did get these really cool photos, and Mumbo commented and said it was cool. My window was kind of beat up, so it was kind of hard to get like a really clean shot, but the views of the mountains were really, really cool this time. I saw the captain of the aircraft. He had like a nice camera and a big lens, and I was so jealous. I was like, oh, like I'm taking this with my phone out of a window that, you know, like this like window. Stupid landscaping. Just 1 second, guys. I was like, man, I bet you have a clean window up there in the old cockpit. I was jealous. You know, back in the day, let me put on my old man hat for a minute here, guys. Back in the old days when I was 5 years old, if you wanted to go see grandma off on a trip, grandma and grandpa, you used to be able to go through security, which took 5 minutes. All they did, they wore these like maroon suits, and they were like super, super nice. And they were like, "Come on through, son. And you got anything in your pockets?" And I'm like, "No, I got nothing." And then you just go through the metal detector, and then like dad would put his just mound of change and keys in the bowl, and then you just grab it up and you just walk with grandma and grandpa on their trip to wherever they were going. And you waved. We got to watch the plane go back up, and we're like, "Bye, grandma, bye, grandpa." And my brother went to his like swimming camp. Like, I think I was like 6 then, and was like, "Bye." And on planes, by the way, back pre 9/11, they gave you food, even if you were back in the cattle car, even if you were in like economy, you got like a little something. It probably wasn't great, but at least it was a gesture. You got a little something. And it's just such a different vibe. Like, I was really reminiscing on this. Like, I remember when I was like 5 and like 8 pre 9/11, going into the airports, and it was so fun. Everything was so calm, right? Like, everybody didn't have like an entire, expedition worth of bags that they're trying to shove onto the inner compartments in the airplane, because airlines didn't charge for bags. So 99% of people checked everything. Most people just came on the plane with literally nothing. Like, literally nothing. Well, I mean, they had clothes on, of course, but literally nothing else. And so there wasn't like that crazy like getting on with all the bags and everybody hooping and hollering, and the flight attendants like, "I'm gonna have to check that," and they're like, "Oh no, you're not." And it's the whole thing. And like nowadays, like, gosh, they're so obnoxious, planes, because it's like, "We're gonna do our pre-boarding now," and then it's like, "And then our super duper flyers are next, and then we're going to load our premium titanium credit card holders. Now we're going to load our platinum credit card holders. And then we're going to load the CEO's best bud. Is there an expected mother in the crowd? Military." And then it's like, "And now first class. And now our gold credit card. Can we have our gold credit card members stand up, please? Thank you. Can we get our silver credit card members? Can we get our partner airline credit card holders now to the front, please? Can we get everybody who doesn't have a credit card or mileage, please take 5 steps backwards, please? You're crowding the gate. Can we get our tin credit card members to come forward next? Thank you. A reminder for the people in the back who don't have the credit cards, can you take another 5 steps back? Thank you." God, what is wrong? Like, people are a little dingy these days. They're all kind of like, because everything is making us go. It's like, God, can we all just get on the plane at once? Can we all just get on the plane? I don't care about your credit card. I don't care about your miles. I don't care about your prestige status. I don't care if you're the CEO's buddy. Can we all just get on the plane at once? Ugh. Excuse me, sir. You're in the credit card line for our silver members. Are you a silver member? No. Are you a gold? No. Are you a platinum? No. Are you a mahogany? No. Then can you please take 100 steps backwards and bang your head on the wall in Minecraft? Thank you. It's just so annoying. I swear, the people who make decisions for everything in life these days don't actually live in the environment of the decisions they make. That is my stance. That goes all the way to Disneyland. Like, JD Slick, the chairman of the parks, he's not buying the $15 parking. He's not doing the reservations. He's not doing any of that. He's not doing the multi-lane super duper passes. No, he's not doing that. Mr. Slick isn't doing that. No, he's not doing that. He's not doing that. No. And these airline people, they aren't doing that. They ain't doing that, not at all. Anyway, all right, I'm done ranting. Okay, we finally get there. We finally get to San Diego. San Diego is one of my favorite places in the world. Like, look at how cool it is. Oh, those guys are cool too. But no, there's the meetup. Oh boy, we'll talk about that in a minute. We get there, and we have actually this time finally have a really great Uber driver who gets us to the right hotel. Last year, took us to the wrong hotel. My dad and I look at each other and I'm like, where are we? I'm like, oh no, what have I done? But no, super nice. Even like, he's like, dude, I do this all day. I know a shortcut. And we just go, and like, he's like, look at the time. It says it would take us 20 minutes. I'm going to get you there in 8. Yeah, he was a cool guy. I liked him. Appreciate him. So he did this little like roundaboutsies, and we get to the hotel. I set up all the medical supplies, which is in the vlog. I probably showed it to you guys that I could actually probably pull it up, but let me pull it up here. Let me pull the vlog up. Let me pull it. Let me see. Let me pull it up. Oh, hello there. Oh, no, that's tired. That's really tired Scar. That's really tired Scar. Nope, that's Scar again. So yeah, I get this all set up. So I get my nebulizer, I get GI set up, I get cardiac and general stuff all going, and then do my medicines, because at that time, like, I decided because the flight was so early that I would just not do anything until we got there. So took all that. My dad just instantly passed out. He's out. He's done. He's done. I also am a little bit insane, and I cleaned everything in the room with like disinfected wipes. So later on, there is a story where Grian and the Hermits had to come save me, and Grian comes into the room, and he's just like, "Whoa! Why does it smell like a clinic in here?" And I'm like, I gotta clean things. I gotta clean things down. And he's like, "Does the window open? Does the window open?" I'm like, I think I'm so immune to cleaning smells. Do I smell like hand sanitizer? And he's like, "Dude, it freaking smells like a distillery in here." And I'm like, I had to clean stuff with alcohol. It's gotta be sterile. Dude, I would never know. I would never in a million years know that room smelled at all. It was so funny. It was so funny. But yeah, then I go and get my credentials. We had to have like wristbands this year. And then finally got to meet up with the Hermits. And my first catastrophe to fix was that Green didn't have the right like setup to be able to go backstage. So I talked to my guy. We got it all sorted out, got that all sorted. They all went to the partner party, and I was like, I've got 1 hour of sleep. I'm going to sleep because we got the panel tomorrow. And then did all my medical supplies, got it all sorted. And then it was panel time. So one thing that's nice about Twitch is in the last 2 years, they've allowed us to be able to go through some of the backstage areas to get around. I would not go to TwitchCon if I didn't have that post Vegas. My brother and I dealt with some like pretty horrific stuff in Vegas that I just don't have the energy anymore. Old man Scar's too tired to get like pushed out of the way to get onto an overcrowded monorail. Like, it was just too much. So luckily they able to do that. And so we headed over, and this is my first, I think this is the first time I got to see some of the guys. Yeah. We head over there. Dude, the boats in San Diego. Like, I don't really go anywhere, and so just seeing anything's always exciting, but these boats were so cool. Like, look at that sailing ship right there. Man, that's gotta be like $50. But look at them, look at those guys, look at them all wonderful. Oh, it was so cool to see the Hermits. So we get there, and then we plan out the panel, and we head down. Look at those guys. Oh, I love the Hermits. Don't you guys love it? I hit a stanchion right there, and Tango's just mocking me. He's mocking me that I'm vlogging and rolling at the same time. So one thing was interesting was the partner lounge where we were kind of waiting was in a different location, and the security had no idea how to get where they needed to get. So we went on this wild journey of the building, which was interesting, right? We got to see all sorts of stuff. We got to see the kitchen. We got to see all sorts of cool, like, behind the scenes things. That was cool. But yeah, then we got down to the panel, and we could hear they're already starting to load the room with people. So Impulse and I decided to poke our head out of the curtain and see everybody. And look, people are starting to come in. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at everybody. Oh, you couldn't have asked for a better, like, crowd. Like, they were so cool. They were so cool. The audience was amazing. So yeah, there was just, everybody was starting to come in at this point. And then Impulse and I having a little bit of fun. That's Trash back there. That was our moderator. Super, super nice. She was fantastic. This is hilarious. My dad goes out here and you guys all cheer for him, and he got so scared and stage frighted that he wouldn't go back on stage to do any more. He was so embarrassed. Oh my god. I couldn't figure out why he wouldn't go back, and he goes, everybody was watching. I got nervous. But look at the crowd, guys. Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. Look at everybody. Look at how cool everybody is. Look at how excited everybody is. Oh, it was so cool. This was a packed house, guys. We also maxed out the wheelchair seats, which we were the only panel to max out the wheelchair seats. So that is in my mini notes that the panel rooms need additional wheelchair seats because we maxed them out. This was the biggest panel of the entire event. And yeah, we maxed out. So that is on my list of many things. But that is something I did address. But yeah, look at that. So that was really cool. The panel was fantastic. There was some there were some tech issues that kind of killed Skiz and I. So Skiz and I worked on this panel from probably, well, we submitted the panel for consideration back in, what's the month that comes before June? May? I think like May or so. I think it was maybe May. And then we had to wait like a couple months. It got approved. And then we brought Tango in to kind of help with like the presentation portion of it. But the problem is when we got there, the videos that were supposed to play, they couldn't play them. So they had to play them at source, which then they like re-uploaded to YouTube, which caused a whole catastrophe. Like sometimes the videos were playing from like 3/4 in or in the middle. So like the prank video, you guys missed the beginning of the prank video, which was frustrating. I think if we were to, so in retrospect, I think we would have only done videos and no graphics, no slides, because one thing we noticed was that they'd leave the slide up longer than it probably should have been, but that wasn't, we didn't have time to communicate that to like the production people. Like, hey, show the slide for like 30 seconds and then switch to back to like looking at our goofy faces or something like that. So that was kind of frustrating, especially for the people at home, because everybody in the audience could, you know, they could see us, but I noticed from the Twitch chat's perspective, they were seeing like mostly like static images and not us. So that was a bit frustrating. Like if we went to like the panel clip, so if we go to like this, I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. Well, apparently it doesn't want to play. There it goes. So let me just, I'm just zipping ahead a little bit. Why is this moving around so much? I'm just trying to find an example of it. Or is this, that's weird. This is only showing 2 minutes of this entire presentation. Okay, well, I had an example there, but apparently I must have pulled the wrong footage. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, not me again. Wow, such good production quality, guys. Look at me. Look at me. But anyway, so there was a clip that ended there was a clip that ended with like YouTube suggestions, and there was like a bad word on it, and like Skiz and I just look at each other and we're like, oh my god. But we hope that people still enjoyed the panel. Like, you know, kind of, we had fun. I revealed myself as the ore snatcher. It's the whole thing. I cannot get this to replay. I cannot. You guys remember when that came on the screen? Yeah, like I wasn't like a happy Scar about that. I was not a happy Scar about that. But I think in the end, I think people enjoyed it. I got to say, for the audience, you guys had great questions. A lot of times, questions from the audience can be a little like worrisome, but at least we know and understand our audience to be awesome. And like, for instance, like Twitch has some like things like keep questions to, you know, family friendly, this and that, just to try to like mitigate some of that. But like, I just didn't worry about our audience. Our audience are great. Every question asked was like fantastic. So that was really, really cool to see. Like, everybody was super, super cool. And I'm trying to think of anything else from the panel. Grian and Jem decided that they were going to come in and watch.
77 tip $20. While I didn't get to meet you, I am grateful I was able to say how much I appreciate you all in the panel.
Aww.
Did you get the bag of jellies after?
Yes, I did get the bag of jellies. I did get the bag of jellies. Thank you so much. Like, I can actually now take one out of the package because I only have one, and I will leave it in the package. So now I can take one out of the package, and I'm going to give one away for the charity event, like a signed one. Thank you. Thank you. By the way, also at the panel, somebody had give Impulse this to give to me, and it is a 3D printed jelly. Now, I knew this would happen. The tail did break, but that's okay. I can fix this. I am capable. But isn't this really cool? This is so well made. Isn't that cute? I love it. I love it. It's really, really nice. And once again, it's just like my hat that I got. This will be so perfect in my new studio. This will be so perfect in my new studio. They're gonna have such cool places for this. Like my Scarline Castle I got last year. It's gonna be so cool. Now, I only have a fraction of the things that were given to me because it's still being mailed to me. So I only have like a couple things that wouldn't fit in that box, and this got shipped completely separate. Anthony, Minecraft Anthony, he took care of this and sent it to me. Like, we don't deserve Anthony at Minecraft. He's too good for us. We don't deserve him. But yeah, all the other stuff's still in a box getting mailed. So yeah, that was the panel. I think it went well. There was obviously some tech issues. And it's always nerve-wracking to talk in front of people. So you get a little nervous when you're like, when you have to do the intro. Like, I have terrible fear. It's my second fear, snakes and speaking in front of crowds. And so sometimes I get a little nervous when I'm talking or talk a little too fast because I'm just nervous. But yeah, I hope I did okay, considering speaking in front of people is my second biggest fear next to snakes. So yeah, it was just cool. So thank you guys for coming. You guys were all absolutely amazing. And as I said, we got lost again in the backstage area, and I found this like amazing little vehicle. Like, look at how cool that is. I want that. I want that so much. I often look at that and think, like, you could, like, if somebody's in your way, like, there's nothing they could do. Like, you are going to plow through a crowd in that thing. Like, beep, beep, I'm coming through in Minecraft. And, like, you could just, nobody get in your way. This thing is going to knock you out of the way. This thing is, like, really heavy duty. But yeah, I wanted to get on that so much. I still think about it. Tried that through TSA. Found the ice machine and the coffee maker. And then we went through the Tower of Terror, which was fun. You know, it's good memories getting the Tower of Terror back. So it was nice to do that. And then I found the San Diego Convention Center waffle maker, which was nice. Probably wasn't expecting that, but yep, I found the waffle maker, which will appear in about 5 seconds. There it is. There it is. That's where they make the waffles at the San Diego Convention Center next to the laundry and the chemicals. Maybe this is waffle batter, guys. See, look at it. Look at it. Do you see it right there? Little metal waffle maker. Look at it. Look at it over there. I love waffles made next to the laundry machines and the chemicals. Love a good chemical waffle. It's good times. Then we went onto the show floor. We were gonna go pop over to the Minecraft booth, and we met so many incredible people over at the Minecraft booth. And I think some people were there for hours. There was a point where I got a little bit too tired, and Anthony and Sean, the Minecraft guys, were like, dude, you don't look great. And I'm like, I'm a little tired, man. And he's like, okay, I got you. And Sean takes me on this crazy like journey through all sorts of different elevators. And then Anthony's like, where are you guys? And Sean's like, I think we made it to the 3rd floor. And he's like, oh, you were so far away from where you need to be. And so then Anthony came, saved us, got us back to the place where we could get in the cars and go back. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Sean and Anthony at Minecraft are incredible. And we've never, as creators, felt more like supported and like appreciated. And then we appreciate them. And it's like, so we have such like a fantastic like relationship as like creator in the studio, and I think it helps make like really good content. Yeah, we definitely went through the back rooms a couple times. Yeah, we definitely did. We went through an elevator and it opened up into their administrative offices, and I'm like, I think we're in the wrong spot. So yeah, they're fantastic. Could never say enough nice things about them. But they did a great job. This is the first time I think that Minecraft has done a booth since 2016 Minecon. I might be wrong. There might have been something else here or there, but this is the first time I think I've ever seen this. And I'm just so hopeful that they do more of this in the future. I did bring up Minecon to Anthony, and he did not acknowledge the words that were coming out of my mouth. But I will never let up. I will never let up. I will just keep bringing it up because we need a Minecon. Not that I think that I'm going to speculate here. I think Anthony would love a Minecon, but it's you know, there's a lot of factors that play into putting on a big convention. And so like, I get it from their perspective. There's a lot of factors that come into play, and it's, I get it, but we love it as creators, you know? But yeah, they did a good job. Unfortunately, I lost the sweatshirt and shirt and the one that my dad bought my mom from the Minecraft booth. That bag got left, I think, at the airport when we were getting out. And so sad. But I at least have my jersey. But anyway, yeah, so that was, the Minecraft booth was so cool. They did such a good job on it. Like, look, we got the happy guest up there. We finally got this fella in Minecraft, like actual Minecraft now. It's been in the code for like 1,000 years. But yeah, can't say enough nice things about what they did. They did such a good job. It's just cool because Minecraft is like a sleeper at TwitchCon. There's like, I call it like crazy TwitchCon, and then there's the wholesome fun Minecraft TwitchCon, and there's like all the Minecraft streamers and this and that here, and like we're all having a great time. Everybody's positive, everybody's chill, everybody's having a good time. And then there's crazy TwitchCon over here, and we're like, we're gonna be over here at the wholesome side. We're gonna be having some good times over here. So seeing that Minecraft now has like a presence, I think that like solidifies that there's like a really positive and really great aspect to TwitchCon. And like I said, I'm just so happy like what they've been doing. Like they're just killing it. This is the state of me after the meetup and the panel. All my things are broken. Dad and I are on our way back. everything is like flashing yellow and red. And then we went back and rested until. Oh, by the way, it's not Kardashians. What's the creature, the aliens, the people who kidnapped Jean-Luc Picard of the Starship Enterprise? And it's not Kardashians. It's it's like it's Kardashian. Look, Kardashians. Dude, I always thought it was okay. All right, no, not Klingon. Okay, it's not Kardashian. Okay, I gotcha. Well, anyway. Those lights over there reminded me of that episode when they were torturing Jean-Luc Picard of the Starship Enterprise. And I was looking at those, they were burning my eyes. And I'm like, dude, I feel like Jean-Luc Picard from that episode where they kidnapped him. I know Joe was once saying, like, we could rent a theater in Nashville for, like, not a lot of money. Like, say we charge tickets, like, $10. Like, if we charged, like, $5 to $10, we could, like, cover the cost of the venue. Like, we don't need to make money off of it. It's just something fun we could do. Like, I was like, yeah, we could do that. We could get up on stage and just randomly talk about random junk. We could just talk about random stuff. All right, let's get past. There's the mic. Okay, this is good. Let me back up a little bit. This is the highlight of TwitchCon coming up. That's the Minecraft meet and greet. By the way, I saw these hooligans go by. I didn't get to go on the golf cart. I asked the guy if he could like put a rope behind him and like tug me. He said he'd love to, but he couldn't. Hi, Scar. But the Minecraft guys, by the way, the coolest people at Minecraft, anyway, they did such a good job on this meet and greet. Yes, it was only an hour and they had to cut off the line, but they did such a good job. Like, you guys were so awesome for coming out. You were so like incredibly cool and chill. And also they gave me a table. Anthony got me a real table, like a respectful table, a table with even a curtain. It was such a good table, and I appreciated that table so much. I appreciate you have no idea how much I appreciated that table, guys. That table was everything to me. Why I like a table is that I don't always want my whole wheelchair on display in photos. Like, it's nice just to have a photo with like the person, and it's not like I'm not in this awkward position. My legs aren't all like twisted around. Like, this is a whole thing. I like the table, and it's easy for me to sign things. Like when, put it down, sign it. Otherwise, I'm having to like sign on my leg, and like you could get a rogue Sharpie and there goes your pants. It's a whole thing. So having that table is always huge for me, and they got me a table, and I freaking appreciated it. We'll come back to that in the next meet and greet. But look at this. Look at all you guys being all fantastic and cool. Look at all you guys. It's so cool. You guys were so fantastic. It's just such an honor to meet everybody. And yeah, it was so cool. And then look at the costumes, guys. Look at the permit office costumes. Look at that. Easy. I just saw Easy go by. I signed so many TCG cards. It was wild. There's a couple people now that have the Series 1 cards. So like Hawkeye standard card and I think Scar standard card. At this point, there's maybe like 5 of those even in existence that are signed. So the people who have, I don't know where this dog came from, but he was a delight and a wonder. And I appreciated him very much. Look at him. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at his face. Everybody look at dog. I don't know whose dog that was, but it was nice to see the dog. He is a lovely guy. Look at him. Oh, he's a good guy. I didn't get to pet him, sadly. I didn't get to pet him. But yeah, that was really cool. And then we get escorted to the Twitch meet and greet. Got the purple lights in everybody's faces. Giving everybody a migraine. But look at this. So I get that there was a lot of problems with the meet and greet, but it was still such an honor to meet everybody. And there it is, guys. There's the table, the infamous table, dude. I posted that as a joke on Twitter. Like, yeah, I'm making fun of it. It was kind of like ridiculous. I didn't know that the tweet was going to get 4.5 million views. 4.5 million people saw that. Why don't those 4.5 million people go watch my video? There's way better content there than the goofy table. But the table is hilarious. I couldn't really use it. I tried using it, but like my back was shot. Like I couldn't, and plus I'm like tied in, so I'm like really trying to like sign with it, and it wasn't great. And plus it like I couldn't really go to the side. I tried doing that. I tried going to the side, but I have less range of motion going over here with like the side guards and all of that stuff. Well, I'm actually in a different wheelchair now because that wheelchair is broken from the airline, but I couldn't do that. So like leaning forward was just a disaster. And plus it separated me from False, Ren, and Cub. So I was kind of like over in the corner, and it was just kind of awkward to be like stuck over there. I will say at least this time they allowed me to plug in my concentrator. Last year they wouldn't. It was like a tripping hazard. So at least this year they did do that. They like taped down an extension cord to that area. But at least they did that. Well, we'll get to it in a minute, but they did unplug my oxygen concentrator during the panel because of union contracts or something or other, and it died during the panel. So we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, that was the table. When my dad saw that, he was just like, he's just like, oh, geez. It's like, oh, geez. But I posted that on Twitter. I just thought it would be funny. People are going to laugh. It got 4.5 million views. Watch my videos, not the tweet. But on a positive note, once again, everybody, I get there was a lot of problems, but just thank you for coming. And it was just so like this person, these people came from the UK. It was just wonderful people. Like, oh, I think there's somebody from Chile. There's so many people from so many places around the world. It was so cool. Oh, the banner. Oh, I loved it. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. I'm gonna pause in 1 second. Okay. I don't know if they want their name said, but this was such a cool gift. I think I can explain what it is. This is a book of every.
I was able to meet you for 17 seconds over at Twitchcon, but nonetheless, it was lovely meeting you. Also, thanks for streaming on my birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday. Happy birthday. It was nice meeting you. I wish there was more than 17 seconds. This is like a photo album of photos from Walt's office at the studio, and then a description of like every single thing as if you were going on the official like VIP tour of seeing all the different things. It is so cool. I have not seen it since the event because it's in the box that got mailed. Like this giant box to the right of the screen over here is full of all the stuff. It's over here. It's in there, and I cannot wait to see that. I'm so excited to go through that because once we left, that box didn't get thrown away. I want to point that out. That box did not get thrown away. I know some people in the meet and greets, their stuff got thrown away. Mine didn't. The only thing that got thrown away was my stickers that I spent $300 on. But that box did get mailed, and it is coming, and I cannot wait to see that. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I know, Coco. I know. Guys, can we just talk about that cosplay? Can we talk about that? Isn't that amazing? They were so nice. They were so nice, and they did such a good job on it. They even got the jelly up there. They waited a long time. So it switched to the next day. After the meet and greet, I got my asthma kind of like took a bit of a, because wearing the mask and stuff, it really kind of affected it. And then when I got back to the room, I was a little like dizzy, a little disoriented a bit. And when I went to the bathroom, I fell like straight off the toilet. I hit the tile. I hit my like hip. I hit my head. It was rough. And my dad was like, we called 911. I hit the deck on the tile in the bathroom. And my dad's like, we're going to call 911. And I'm like, call the dads. Because I was in such a bad position, and I was also worried that what would happen in Vegas when they got me back up from when I fell, that I passed out because of like orthostatic blood pressure changes. I didn't want that to happen, so I was like really careful to like stay in this position and let everything kind of like settle, and then do like a it was a little bit better. And so like I called them on Discord, like our group chat, and they're like, Scar, he's just butt dialing us. And I'm like, you guys. And then the only person I have on the What's It app, the What Time app, is Grian. And I call Grian, and Grian's like, good afternoon. And my dad's like, hey, it's Scar's dad. Would you be free for a few minutes to lift something? So Grian, Cub,
Ramble Wheels,
Impulse, and Tango. And then what was I gonna say? So yeah, I took a header off the toilet, and Grian mobilized Tango, Impulse, and Cub, and they came up and like got me off the floor. What I was worried about was if my asthma didn't get better, we would have called 911. It got better. We used the inhaler 3 times, and then I couldn't detect anything broken. It just hurt like crazy, but I was like, okay, I don't think anything's broken. Let's not call 911 and cause a catastrophe. And let's see and they were super nice. I only bring this up because the Hermits are incredible. We're all friends and family, and like that's what makes this group so special, is like they're willing to like help in a situation like that. And so they got me back up, and that's when Grian's like, whoa, it smells like a clinic in here, with all like the alcohol spray and like cleaners that I have to use to like clean up everything. But he did crack the window. So yeah, very nice of them. So the next morning for MCC, I was hurting. My head was a mess. My like shoulder, my hip, like I mean, luckily I don't walk because my hip was really swollen and bruised. So it kind of just sat in the chair, right? And one MCC in that condition. Why does every MCC, this is 2 MCCs in a row at TwitchCon where I've had some kind of catastrophe the day before. But it's very nice of them to do that, and I just want to give them like a shout out, because that is nice. Like they didn't have to help. I just was worried about my dad like getting me out of that position I was in. I just didn't want him to hurt himself. I know he could have, but I just, if we had help around, I just wanted to make sure, like, yeah, I just didn't want my dad to get hurt. So luckily they were cool, and they were able to help. Okay, here's the cards. I brought them to Grian, but we didn't get a chance to open them together. That's what I wanted to do in the vlog. I was hoping to do that after MCC, but we didn't get a chance to. But I was glad he liked them, and he picked them out. Yeah, so I'm glad he got them. They're cool. My dad like hand carried that onto the plane. My dad like hand carried that, like, nobody disturb the Pokemon cards. Nobody disturb the Pokemon cards. So it's cool. I originally had an idea for my vlog that I was going to make it look like I opened up all the packages. So what I was going to do is I have some extra like TCG packages over here. And on the vlog, I was going to open them really quick and be like, I just took everything out of their packages and put them all in a nice consolidated box here for Grian. So he doesn't have to worry about the packaging and all that stuff. It's all packed up here. Got the cards out of their bags. It's all set. But it was 3 a.m. and I just like, we didn't have that much time between like waking up and leaving that I didn't get that part in the vlog. But it would have been really funny for the vlog. I think that would have been really cool. And then off we go. Dude, look at this. Wait. I gotta show you this. This is, I'm waiting for it. Where is it? We're driving here. Little wave. We're heading on. We're heading over there. Boom. That was the San Diego Bomb Squad was over there. But we pull in here. Got the hooligans. Look at them. Look at them. Bunch of MCCers, and then off we go. Got the lights, right? Pink lights for the for our team. This was like one of the highlights probably of the entire time, was just Grian, Gem, Pearl, just us back here in the in like the convention center before it opened. This is this is definitely like my favorite part. Like Grian just decides to book it. He just books it in about 5 seconds. He just decides, look at his head. He realizes like, what if I just booked it. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. This is my favorite. This is my favorite part of the whole trip. And then we whip around the corner right here, and like there's just people standing there, and he's like, "Oh, hello, good morning." That's my favorite part of the whole convention. Yeah, that was my favorite part. It was just fun. It was fun hanging out. It's cool to see the convention center without anybody. Like, I've never got to go to the Elgato booth. I want to go to the Elgato booth. I've never been able to go to the Elgato booth. But I think at one point we were going to go by the Minecraft booth and the Gamers Outreach booth, but obviously it was still early. Nobody was there. Like, Stage wasn't at the Gamers Outreach booth or anything. They wanted us here early for trying to figure out like what to do for like walkouts and stuff. And so we pull up here and look at Fruit. Look at him wearing this like full on Pink Parrots outfit. And then we did so much VOD reviewing, guys, the VOD reviewing. I did the best I've ever done in Ace Race. I know my place isn't anything to like be all that proud out, but I was proud out of it because that's the best I've ever done. If I hadn't have fallen in that hole and got stuck in there for a minute, I think I could have placed in the 20s. I think I could have. I really think I could have placed in the 20s if I hadn't have fallen in that hole. I've learned a ton by VOD reviewing this stuff. And I also want to mention Fruit is such a nice dude. Fruit is so nice. Fruit spent so much time like teaching us PvP skills and stuff. Like, I'm just inherently bad at it, but like Grian soaked it up like a sponge. He's just like, so like he really picked up on a lot. I tried, like, I still a little confused, but and Jem too. Like, they both really like got into it. It was really cool. So Fruit's just awesome. Fruit's just really cool. So that's like the backstage part where we all like hear the rules. Hear the rules and stuff like that. I think they were introducing Anthony for the Crafty Awards and stuff along those lines. But yeah, that's the whole crew back here. And another wild ride. So we're going back to where our computers are, right? The backstage area. I always love this part. I always love to see all the things. Like, there's so many people behind the scenes that I don't think get really appreciated that make the productions happen. Like, this area is just full of people on computers and this and that. And I don't think a lot of those people ever get much recognition for all the work that they do back here. So, you gotta show a little clip or two of the people in the back doing all the work. But see this right here. All right, so you see where Jem's foot is? There's this giant like plastic thing that all the cords are under. And this is a problem that I have. It'll probably get a little bit more evident later when we talk about accessibility, is that I am so used to things that I forget to like give a heads up or even acknowledge it to somebody who doesn't understand what happens like with the chair or something like that. Me going over that, the chair flipped back a little bit, but I'm so used to that, or my parents are, that it's not like a big deal. But Grian, being the first time pushing me, didn't know that. And I was so oblivious that I freaked him out, thinking that I was going to tip backwards. And in the vlog, I'm just like nonchalantly like going like this. I cut the audio out, but Grian's just like, oh my God, my stomach just fell through my... So I had to cut that part off. But it was like, oh shoot, I gotta remember sometimes, like when somebody is not used to pushing or something like that, I gotta be more cognizant of like, oh no, it's okay. Like, I just let Grian think that I was gonna like get flipped back. I like feel really bad rewatching that, but it's sometimes when you're just, I don't know, living the rut of life, you just kind of get used to those things. So I'm so sorry to Grian for giving him a jump scare that he was going to crash. I feel bad. I feel bad. But yeah, this part right here is when we like kind of flip back and poor guy freaked out. But yeah, like I said, it's just nice to give everybody a little shout out that makes this all work out. Oh, well, you look at that. Copper crowns. I actually didn't see that. I actually did not see this in there. I'm just filming because it's dark. So it was funny coming back I technically didn't see that, which is crazy. The crowd's awesome, and MCCs are just amazing. They do such a good job with the production. Now, I did have some issues with my computer next to that speaker, but they do a good job with these. They do a really good job with these. The crowd's just fantastic. They say, like, guys, they say the nicest things about you. This guy's locked in, by the way. I've never seen Korean locked in so deeply to wanting to win. Oh, it's so good. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's so fun. And here we go. Here we go. So somebody handed me that, the snail, right before we went out. It was like right around here-ish. Somebody handed it to me, and I never really got to like thank them or really acknowledge it because it was just like we had to go so quick. But I got the snail. I got the snail. I got the snail. Dude, that guy almost ran into my dad. The camera guy. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Oh, the Hermitcraft Award. So we got an award. We got it's like the heaviest thing ever, guys. Like the crafty. I think even like Grian was struggling. I think Grian was even struggling to hold that up. So it was quite something. For context on this, I was told about this ahead of time, and I was told it was being given to us for the charity event. So when I spoke on the microphone, I brought up the charity event, but to the audience, I think it was more perceived as just like Hermitcraft. And I felt like a doofus when I was rolling back. I was like, did I make a terrible mistake? Did I misinterpret what they told me? I was like, really like, oh my God, did I really mess that up? I was so nervous. And then somebody out in the comments, like the first comment I saw was like, silly Scar. He thought he was getting it for the charity event, but it was just for Hermitcraft. Like, and I'm like, I really messed up, guys. I really messed up. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know. Like, I still think it was. But like the card that the host read out was like just kind of like generic Hermitcraft and not like specifically for the charity. But yeah, because I was told about this quite a bit ahead of time, and that's the impression I was under. And that's why, like, I knew when I went up there, I didn't really know exactly what I was going to say, but what I was going to say was something about the charity event and just always making sure to acknowledge that even though it's a Hermitcraft event, Jimmy and Martin play just the biggest role as any hermit in making that possible. So it's like, those are the two things. Thank Jimmy and Martin, of course, and then like just talk about it. So I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous going back to my seat. It was cool. I like I said before, Anthony and Sean, like, I can't say enough nice things about what they're doing. Like, they really do make us all feel like, I don't know, we're all like collaborating to just make Minecraft the best it can be. And it's just cool. Like, I feel like they've got like budget and power and creativity, and they're just rolling with it. And this is like golden Minecraft era. Like, just absolutely love it. I can't say enough nice things about them. Like, this is so cool. This is so cool. But it was nice to get everybody over here. And like I said, I felt like a little bit of a doofus, but and they gave me the microphone, which made me uncomfortable. But I don't do well talking in front of people. It makes me very nervous, but I did try to do my best. I tried to do my best. I think we're going to see the clutch. And I want to give context to this. Okay. So in Railroad Rush, Grian organized the teams. Grian's a good organizer. It's one of his like really, he has many strong suits, but one of them is the ability to organize people and set tasks and stuff like that. And he wanted to win Railroad Rush. Like, he was like, I want to win this, and I think we can do it. So everybody had a role. Like, Grian and Fruit were like building out the track in the layout. Jem was working on the vaults, and I was kind of managing the cart, because if the cart goes past this point, it has a chance of breaking down. Like my role is just to make sure the track doesn't break. So if it explodes, it could break the track, and then you could, lose by like it not going to the next room or something. So always making sure like the integrity of the track is in place. So when this cart comes, I haven't heard the call out to bring the car. And in my head, I'm like, oh shoot, they're so focused on what they're doing, but I also don't want to send the cart there and have it break something. So I was kind of like, oh shoot. What do I do? And right here, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to place it. And I didn't know that I did not look at the clock until I placed that down. It's like right when I placed that down, I saw the clock basically said 1. But like, to me, the worst thing I could have done was sent that cart and had it break the rail and we missing out on a room or something like that. Say like the cart went over somewhere and like hit something and broke the track. That would have been the worst. So like, to me, like, yeah, I had to wait till the last second to make sure we got it all the way there. So yeah, that clutch was a little bit wild. We were very excited. Oh, could we just say something nice about Car and Jojo? As always, they killed it as the hosts for the for MCC. Like, just absolutely fantastic. It's so cool that they're both like MCCers. I think that always makes it like extra good that like the hosts also are part of the event and part of the community. So like they know everybody and they know how to play and all that stuff. So that's what makes that like super amazing. And then just generally they're great. So this is probably the only time I was like, oh, this feels awkward. I think just because like Green at one point was like, at one point in the presentation, they were like, and at some point in the show, we're going to ask everybody to stand up. And then like Green looks over at me and goes, and then when this part happened, when it was like, oh, we got to stand up and go over there. Like Green's like, I don't know. What do we do? And I'm like, I'm not sure either. And eventually I think Chip's like, let's just roll over there. Let's go over there. We'll go over there. And so we stand there and just kind of watch, kind of take in the sights. See a lot of butts. That's my view. But it's cool. It was funny. Like right over here, I think Jimmy just shouts like, "We did it, Scar! We saved it!" I had no idea we did not. I was so worried we didn't make it to dodgeball, and I wasn't looking at my computer where it said Big Parrots #1. So I was super nervous. And finally, like Green's like, no, we did win. We did win. I was like, oh, good. Look, the excitement in my face, like, yeah. Yeah, we're a little nervous. I'm not, what I really realized, like, I'm not super fantastic at dodgeball. And I think that's somewhere where I need to improve, because I don't think my dodging and weaving skills is doing well for me. I think I might be doing it wrong. Also, I definitely know that you shouldn't celebrate a hit because you just stopped moving and somebody could target you, and that's what happened to me when I hot-guyed 5-up. So yeah, I need to work on my like dodging and weaving skills. That's what I need to improve that. That's the biggest thing. Like, that's probably the biggest thing. Like PvP, I'm always going to be terrible at, but I'll always try to improve. But I know I can get better at dodgeball if I can work on like a good dodge and weave. I need to talk to like Fruit or somebody and be like, all right, what am I doing wrong? How can I get more nimble? How do I get more movement? Stuff along those lines. This was extremely tense. This was like, we were very, very tense. This This was tense. Oh yeah, I got hit. This is so tense. This is when Grian, this is right here at Grian is 2v2. Grian aura farming. Look at him. Look at him. Did I almost fall at the end? I don't know why everybody did this, guys. Every hermit did this. We were channeling our inner hermits to Grian. We all did this. I don't know why, but if you go back, we're all like clutching our heads. I have no idea why that happened to be. Every hermit did that posture position, but we all like transmitted over to him. He just brought, we were so excited. Oh, we were so excited. Oh, that was cool. That was cool. I was trapped. I was like trying to get by this chair. Dude, look at the guy, the admin was awesome. Like he was great the whole time. And I was like so like just caught up in the moment, and I'm just bashing that chair, and this poor guy, he's trying to help me, but I don't even notice. I don't even notice. Look, and eventually he yeets it. Look at him. Watch. He just yeets that chair. He's like, we're taking the chair out of the picture. He was great. He was super good. Yeah, he was great, but it's just so funny. Like he just, I'm just dragging that chair. Green's like trying to get air now. He's just trying to breathe. Yeah, no more chair. And we went over and said, you know, GG and stuff to Purple, and then we came over here. The announcer was super nice, but they gave me the microphone again. I'm like, gosh, I have such a hard time talking in front of crowds. Why am I keep giving the microphone? Gosh. Not the microphone again. So Jojo ahead of time is like, dude, I think you guys are gonna win. And I'm like, Jojo, if we win, you're giving me the crown. And Jojo knows, like, because they had brought the other people had brought the crowns over, and I'm like, nope, I want Jojo. I want Jojo. Yep, see, Jojo knew. I said before that, like, I love how like we're positioned to like height. We're like positioned by height. Oh, they always give me the microphone. It makes me uncomfortable. I sound like a goof. I try to do my best. This thing is so heavy, guys. Like I'm not joking. That thing weighs like 10 plus pounds. And it's really well designed. Like it's really well designed. Like it's like hefty. They put a lot of like time into it. Like its design and stuff like that. It's really cool. But yeah, it's so heavy. I think the first one I asked a Cub, I was like, is your trophy like, is it made out of wood? And he's like, no, it's like plastic with like metal like around it and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, I think this is like, this thing's like solid like maple or something. It's so heavy. But yeah, Green did talk a little bit of smack ahead of time. But yeah, Green's like, I talk so much smack now I could go to the party with my head held up high. That's cool. Oh, there's Scott. I think, oh, there's Impulse. By the way, I met Tubbo's dad. Tubbo's dad's super nice. Oh, and AMZ. Yeah, this is so cool. MCCs are worth all the trouble to get to TwitchCon. It really is worth the trouble. It is absolutely worth the trouble. And then we were off. Even the security guys like, dude, that was incredible. We watched it. But yeah, then we head on back, and all these guys were so nice during the whole event and stuff like that. And we got Cub. We got the Cub watched the event. So Cub kind of signed us off here at the end of the event. Cub is such a cool guy. Like in person, like when you talk to Cub, one, Cub's so cool, and two, he's always got some kind of new like feat of like ability. Like, oh, I can do this or I can do that. It's like, that's why in the panel, it's like you learn 135 new things about Cub every time you talk to him or meet him. It's always some like cool new Cub factoid, and I don't know. Cub's awesome. Cub is such a cool guy. So that's kind of the end of the vlog. So after that, that took place at about 4 a.m. because I got the worst flights imaginable. And we pack up. Unfortunately, that's where I lost my bag with my like antisocial, not social club shirts, and it was such a bummer. And we got the Uber. We got to the airport. Another great Uber driver, and this guy, he knew a back route. These Uber guys like know these back routes, right? So, San Diego International Airport has a new terminal. And if you're going to, I think we were maybe Terminal 2. I can't remember exact numbers, but we were going to like the Alaska terminal, right? And it was backed up like crazy. And he's like, I know a little shortcut. And we're like, oh, because we were maybe a tiny bit late, maybe just like a little tiny bit. And he's like, all right, here's the deal. You drive into the new terminal and there's a secret little bypass, like flyaway, to Terminal 2. And we like avoided 15 to 20 minutes of traffic. Like we went right around there and then we got out and we were kind of late. Like I at least felt like maybe a little late. If it was a bigger airport, I think it would have been a bigger problem, but San Diego's a smaller port, so it wasn't that big a deal in the end. Well, once we get to TSA, that is the problem. But that's where I accidentally dropped the bag, I think, on the ground that had those extra sweatshirts, and it didn't get turned into lost and found and stuff, so it's kind of a bummer. But we get in there, we go up to the TSA counter, and I wanted to specifically say, because of last time, I was like, hey, I want to make sure I go to the pre-check line. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, just go through here. And we go through there, and then I was directed again by another TSA person, and I finally realized, like, they're pulling me out of the pre-check line. And I'm like, this is I think is what happened last time. It's why that last time I was at San Diego was such a mess, because I realized, like, wait, that's the pre-check. I'm like, no, I'm a pre-check. And the person who takes like your photo now and looks at your like passport ID hands me this piece of paper again. And I'm like, oh no, not this again. And I specifically saw it. It was like, you acknowledge that you have exited a pre-check line and you're going through a non-pre-check line. And like the color in my face just descends because it is packed. Like it is jammed. The TSA is like a nightmare. And also you got to give it to them. With like all the stuff going on with like the government, like I get it. Like it's not easy ever, but especially now. And so they were short staffed too. But like my heart dropped. I was like, oh no, my bag is full of medical stuff. And so they take my dad away. They leave me for 10 minutes, just kind of looking like a goof again. Like I'm sitting like in the center, like an island around all these lines going like this. And I'm just like, and then somebody's like, what are we doing with him? And I'm like, and then this guy's like, okay, I'll do it. He takes me back. He's fine. He does like a hand, all he did was just like a hand swab. And then I look over and every bag that we had got flagged and pushed to the secondary conveyor belt. Oh, and I was like, I looked at my watch and I'm like, oh no. Oh dear. And this TSA agent started with the backpack. So started with my backpack that has all of the batteries in it, and proceeds to berate me for having electronics in my bag. And I said, I am a TSA pre-check. And she goes, you realize you're not in a pre-check line? I go, This is the second time that I've now been directed out of the pre-check line to it. And she goes, I don't care. I'm like, okay, I don't want to cause any problems. So I'm just going to be calm, Scar. I'm going to go into my Zen place. And then they take my dad for like extensive like pat down. And I don't like being separated by whoever I'm traveling with because I can't always do a lot. And they want me to do stuff that I can't do. And I need also somebody to like advocate in case I can't. So I don't like in that scenario always being separated. But so she takes out the batteries and then takes the bag and then sends that back and then takes my dad's bag with all of his medical stuff, berates him then for having this electronic in his bag. And she goes, no electronics bigger than a phone. And my dad's like, because the stuff that he uses to control his brain are one of them is literally a cell phone and the other is like another little like controller thing about this big. And I'm like, that is the size of a cell phone. Like, that is the size of a cell phone. And then like pulls out like my camera and goes, once again, no bigger than a cell phone. And then I'm like I get I messed up. I don't need to be berated for every piece of items. And she's like, bigger than a cell phone. And I'm like, under my breath, I'm like, is it? Is it bigger than a cell phone? Is it bigger than a cell phone? Like I feel like I'm just like getting crazy in the head. I'm like, is it? Like, she holds this up and goes, not bigger than a cell phone or bigger than a cell phone. I'm like, is it? Is it? I'm like, also look at that. Isn't that cool? Look at the scarred forest, the scarred National Forest sticker. Isn't that cool? Cocoa Bats made that. And I was like, and so they pull that, they take that out and put it in a separate source. They're setting everything back. And then it's just like one thing after another. And every time this person is just like berating us. And my dad's like just furious, but like silent over there. I could tell like he's just fuming, but like just saying nothing, just trying to get through it. And then I think my dad asked if he could have help putting something back in the bag. And like she looked at him like murder. And I was like, oh no. And like we got everything packed back up. And it wasn't as long as Portland. I think it was more like we were probably there for another 30 minutes in that part, unlike Portland. But it's just like, man, every time going through TSA is like such like misery. And you try to do everything right? Like you go up there, you do the TSA cares thing, you tell them in the form like every single item that you have, and it just like never helps. And like, you know, when you get up there, you're like, hey, this bag has liquid in it that is medically necessary, this and that. But it's just like, I need some like more tips from like people who travel more often, because I just want to avoid just like this hassle every time. It's just a pain. And I guess the probably the thing that bothers me is like you do follow all the rules. Like you do follow, like I follow everything. I separate everything. Like the medical stuff is in a separate compartment, and it's all separated. It's all in individual bags. It's all tagged. It's like everything is perfectly aligned. But then it's like, oh, you're supposed to take all this out now. And it's like, how was I supposed to know that? Like, I actually looked up the website to make sure I was in compliance with everything beforehand. It didn't say to do that. Also, like, if you do go through a TSA checkpoint that's pre-check, why do they keep directing me out of the pre-check line and handing me that thing? It's like a green laminated piece of paper. And it's like, and when I saw that, I was like, no. Oh my gosh. That's so frustrating. It's just frustrating. So I need some tips. You guys got some more tips for me to avoid this shenanigans? More, I don't know what else I could do. Like I said, everything is individually bagged, tagged in a separate compartment. I have all the necessary documentation for every lithium battery. Every device I have is FAA cleared. Like, I don't know what else I can do at this point other than just kind of like suck it up and hope for the best, I guess. A private jet. Dude, I looked up a private jet one time from like Portland to somewhere, and it was like one way was like $50,000. I was like, oh my God, I knew it was expensive, but I didn't know it was that expensive. Dude, I love taking the train. Dude, a train is the most delightful thing ever. The only place I can really take a train is to Seattle, and it's calm. You can take like just as much junk as you want. Nobody harasses you. You literally park. The handicap spot is 30 feet from the train tracks. It's a delight. Last time I took the train, I was watching the planes go over, and I'm like, shh. I'm getting on a train. There's a dining car. My mom and dad are gonna go have some snacks in the dining car. The airplane doesn't have a dining car. They don't have a dining car. I just wish we had more trains. I wish we had more trains. Trains are great. Trains are wonderful. Dude, it's so chill. Trains are so chill. You have so much room. The bathrooms are huge. Like, it's great. But yeah, we get past there, and we're a little bit late. We get down to the gate, and this is where I realized, like, I had walked up. I had broken the cardinal sin of a gate agent. I walked up to her when she was logging in, and she says, "I'm logging in." And I go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry." And I back away, and I think she realized, like, I knew you don't come up to them when they're logging in. She knew, and she knew I was apologetic, so she was nice to me. And so we back up, and eventually she calls us up, and like, you have to do the measurements and everything for the wheelchair. And then she goes, "Hey, would it be easier if I just gate checked your bags and had them brought back to you in the jetway when you land?" And I was like, I didn't know that was a thing, but yes, please. So she was so nice. She tagged the bags. And so when we went down to the jetway, the bags went down to the plane, and then when we got off the plane, the bags were back up on the jetway. The reason I don't like to leave my bags is because they have medicines and medical devices in them, so that's why I always have to carry them on, and same with my dad. So I didn't know that you could basically jetway tag a bag and have that bag then sent back to the jetway when you get off the aircraft, and you can grab your bag and walk off and not have to go down to the luggage. I didn't know that was a thing. So I was happy about that. And so, yeah, we get on the plane. They strap me up. They put me on, and the other gate agent is having a conversation with the flight attendant for a good solid 8 minutes. And there's just my spidey senses were going off that something was wrong again. And I'm like, oh shoot, something's wrong. Something's wrong. To avoid issues, I usually book my flights, and I did it this time. I booked my flights through Alaska Airlines Accessibility Line. I do that because Alaska nowadays doesn't have all the documentation check marks for oxygen concentrators and stuff like that. So I go on to Alaska and I tell them, like, hey, this is all the stuff. I have a wheelchair, I have this feeding bag, I have da. And they can do things that I can't do on their website. Other airlines, you can more like select all these things. So I go to the dedicated thing. She books the tickets and gets them all set. And I'm like, sweet. The dedicated Alaska person, always nice. And so she buys her a private jet. I don't want a private jet. I want a hot air balloon. I want to chill in like a hammock, just cruising in a hot air balloon. That's Dream Scar right there. That's Dream Scar right there. Hot air balloon. That's where it's at, guys. Or blimp, totally. Blimp, anything. I want to sail by the tides, by the tidal winds. I want to sail on the winds. So I didn't really think about it. I just sat down where they told me to sit down. I was at a bulkhead. So a bulkhead seat means that there is no seat in front of you to put things under. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm in the bulkhead again. Oh, this happened before and caused a problem. And I'm like, okay, now on, I'm going to book it through the accessibility line and also double check to make sure where the seats are and not trust them. Or trust. I can trust them, but also need to like verify that it is also not in this spot, because I can't do this 2 times in a row. This is a nightmare. And so they finally come over and they're like, hey, do you need your oxygen concentrator for the full flight? And I go, how long does it have to be off? And they're like, we can turn it off. Because I could make do on the ground. I could make do on the ground. I cannot make do in the air. Once we're in the air, like I would not do well. And they're like, well, once we get up to 10,000 feet, you can go and get it from the overhead. And I'm like, I don't really do well reaching up. And then they're like, okay, well, maybe I could do it. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And my dad's like, well, I can too. And so my dad can help too. And so like, we're figuring out, okay, we could maybe do that. And then they're like, well, what about this bag? And I'm like, oh, that bag is attached to my intestine. And they're like, okay, what we're gonna have to do now is we're gonna have to move you. So they had to bring back the wheelchair assist people, bring back the aisle chair, take the people in the seat behind us and move them to our seat. The plane is entirely full. Like, we're ready for pushback. We had the door was about to close. And so then they had to like re-pick me up. They had to clear part of the seats around that so they could get in, pick me back up, put me on the aisle chair, scoot me back, remove me, put me back down in the seat. And by the time that had happened, like, dude, my pants were like falling off. Everything was askew and tangled. And I'm just like, I hate flying. And so in the future, I have to double check that I do not end up in a situation where I have to have that bulkhead seat. I need to make sure that doesn't happen. Like, trust but verify that they have got me the right seat when I book it through the Alaska thing. And if I book another airline, it's a little bit easier because I can more do it myself because you don't have to call anyway. Anyway, whatever. So we get on there. We make it. We fly. They get me off the plane. I'm disheveled. And as I'm rolling up the jetway, like, something's not right. Like, there's a little bounce going on, and I'm just like, oh no. But as I was coming out, I was like, man, this chair is creaking and making a weird sound, and I'm feeling a little wobble. And then I started hearing some honking. I heard some honking, and I knew a honk, in my experience with the type of wheelchair I have, a honk, it's significant about it. I can't even say that word, apparently. That means that the honk means that the bearings are broken in the front casters, and I can barely wheel to the left. Like, it's also getting worse. The more I wheel, like, the worse it's actually getting in the front. And I just turned to my dad. My dad's exhausted. I turned to my dad. I'm like, they broke the chair. And he's like, what do we need to do? And I'm like, we're going to baggage claim. And so we hobble down to baggage claim. And what's crazy is the chair, like, the more I wheel, the worse it keeps getting. And we get down there, and they were very nice. Like, the Alaska people at the counter, like the baggage guy, he was very, very nice. Not a fan of like a millennial's work ethic, but he was very nice. He got what he needed done. I heard probably at least about an 8-minute spiel about millennials and their work ethic, but I was just like, bro, I'm so tired, dude. I've been up since like 4. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. So yeah, so this guy, you know, he gets all the paperwork down, but apparently there's been some new laws passed that makes breaking a wheelchair even worse for the airline. So the supervisor had to come down and like document everything, and then ask me like a ridiculous amount of questions. And so one thing in San Diego they didn't do is you're supposed to hand you like this new piece of paper that explains your rights. And I was like, I didn't get that. She was like, I'm going to be documenting this. And so basically they documented like a ridiculous amount of stuff, took pictures of everything. This person that did this all was incredibly like apologetic. And I was like if you just show like the ounce of like empathy to like this, then I'm like, that's totally cool. Like I wasn't upset. Like this person was just incredibly nice and explained how this like shouldn't happen, but they're going to make it right. And the company who deals with the repairs, like the insurance company for the airlines, they're fantastic. I wish they were my health insurance. They're so like helpful and fast. They're like, hey, I know this is your main means of getting around. We're going to expedite everything. Everything is approved. They were super nice. So I'm in my like new wheelchair, but this new wheelchair is so dangerous that I like tip back every time I wheel. It's so I'm kind of like having to be really safe in this chair, because if I wheel this chair too much, like it just flips back, and like it's so off balance still. It's a mess, but hopefully my old wheelchair can get fixed and I can just get back into a chair that's not dangerous. But yeah, they did a number on it. And I think what happened, this is just a theory, because I've seen it before, is that on the jetway, there's stairs going down, and then there's this like little slide for luggage that slides down. And I think that they may have slid the wheelchair down that slide, and it probably hit the ground on the other end, or hit some kind of like barricade that like keeps the luggage from like flying all over the place. So the wheelchair went flying down and then smashed that. Based on one, the casters all were broken. And by the time I got home, like it just kept getting worse and worse. I think because they were misaligned and broken, that the more they wheeled, the more they got like more and more broken. And then they messed up the right thing, and they ripped something on the back of the chair. The right brake was also misaligned and broken. I think it like the little pin, there's like a little spring pin that was just knocked out completely, or something like that. That's what the technician said. And that's what I think they did. And hey, I can complain all day about it, but what's the solution for this? The solution for this is to take the wheelchairs down the elevator. So if you have a powered wheelchair, so these powered wheelchairs can weigh up to like 300 plus pounds. So obviously nobody's picking up the 300 pound wheelchair, or at least not without like, 50 guys, some burly fellas. So those are brought down an elevator, and they bring them down. And I think they're either doing two things. I think they're carrying the manual wheelchairs by hand down those stairs, which isn't good. That'll hurt the person's back. We don't want them to hurt their back. Or they're just sliding them down that little like chute. And that's where I think a lot of the damage is occurring. So it's like, take the extra less than 5 minutes to take the wheelchair down the elevator. There's plenty of time. I'm first on the plane, last off the plane. So there's plenty of time to do it. Like by the time like you get me out of my seat onto the aisle chair, there's plenty of time to take that chair down an elevator and brought around to the aircraft. And I'm the last off the plane, so there's plenty of time to take the thing up the elevator and around. Saves person's back. We don't want to hurt the backs. We got to be, don't want that. And two, don't damage the chair, because a chair is a person's leg. Breaking somebody's wheelchair is the same, in my eye, maybe people disagree, is the same thing of just like snapping somebody's leg. I can't move at all without my wheelchair. I am like a turtle without its shell. I am just a floppy bunny. I don't know what I am, but without it, like I can't move. So like I'm literally just like an eel out of water. Like I'm an eel. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like animals. Like I can't move. So when you break it, you're denying my ability to move. And so that's why it should be taken serious. Like don't hurt the luggage person's back, because carrying this down the stairs would hurt somebody's back. Like we don't want that. But what the simple solution is to take it down the freaking elevator and don't drag it across concrete. So that's my solution for them. Like just do it. It's just not that big a deal. So yeah, they're Alaska seemed to care. They're taking it seriously. and the parts are all ordered. She ordered them expedited, so hopefully that helps speed up the process a little bit. But let's talk about accessibility now at TwitchCon. So there were some issues. I had a feedback form of like a feedback channel on Discord where people could lay out some of the issues they had, and they were able to contact me via email. I read through every single message. I wasn't able to reply to everybody, but I was able to read through every single message. Some of the biggest takeaways I took from feedback from the audience was meet and greet was the number one culprit. Disorganized ADA line. Some meet and greets had a specific line for ADA, and some didn't. And from what I could tell from everybody's feedback from the meet and greet that we did with False, Ren, Cub, and myself, there was like next to no ADA line or some kind of like disorganized nonsense. So for that particular thing is what I've told Twitch was you need to have a dedicated straight line. You need a straight line for the ADA queue. Okay. You need a straight line. On the side of the line, you need chairs. You need actual chairs, not benches. You need chairs lined up across there. So that was the first thing I said. Second thing is that you should empty the ADA queue first. So send the ADA queue first. And so what they told me back was that's how they did it in the past. And we go by a lot of surveys that we've got. And one of them was that people didn't want to like feel like they were cutting the line. So their solution to that was do like 5, 5, and 1. And I was like, just send the ADA queues are never going to be that long. Just send all the ADA through. So send that through. So that's one thing. So straight line, no switchbacks for the ADA people. Second thing, wristband scanning points. That was a concern I had because it was my absolute max that I could get my arm like all the way up and around onto that thing to scan my wristband. And I said, like, I know a lot of people who don't have movement in their arms at all. And that was a huge issue. So what I told them was like, take that box, that scanner box, and do it like Disney does. Disney has like a scanner here, but it's low and you can just scan it like horizontally, or have like a handheld scanner that they could use that scan people who aren't able to do that. So for instance, like put the scanner instead of on the top of the pedestal, like stick it to the side of it. So it's more like down here where you could just like walk by and just go like that, or find some other solution than wristbands. Like I'm just trying to think of like, what can we do to fix that issue? Because scanning the hands, especially with people who don't have movement, they can't get them up there. And they fully understood that. We're going to work on a solution for that. Because everybody has to have those hands scanned, because for security, people were in the past just swapping credentials. And by like putting that tag on them, it keeps like a little like higher level of security for the building. So I don't know, I was trying to think of a solution, because that's not an accessible thing for people to have to do if they don't have the ability to move their arm. And especially then the hassle of like explaining it to the security, and you know, it's just it gets cumbersome and annoying. And I totally get that, because I was like on the verge of not being able to do that. But for the meet and greet queue, I also brought up the lighting. So the lighting has been an issue for 2 years. So we know that Pearl has had a migraine twice, like a serious migraine from the lights that they have in there. So the lights are one facing us are extremely harsh. They're very bright and they're really harsh. The lights that are above the queue where people are waiting is a very like purplish blue. And we all know like blue light is a way of like triggering migraines. We know like from monitors and stuff along those lines, that light is incredibly like triggering for migraines and just general like light sensitivity. And maybe that's fine when you are in that space for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But if you're waiting 3 hours in that bright light, in that bluish light, I totally get why I got so many emails of people being like, yeah, that light was rough. Yeah, it is 100%. And the light facing us is incredibly like harsh. And so I talked to them about like, we've got to fix that lighting. That lighting is so harsh and it just like burns the back of your eyes. And like, and look at poor Pearl. We can't have Pearl like feeling like that. So that, and I guess the other big thing was seating. You need to have actual chairs along the ADA queue. And, you know, people were trying to find like benches, and then staff were telling them that they couldn't move the benches, but then they would move the benches. It was a whole ordeal. So like just getting actual chairs lining the ADA queue that could be used for people who might not be in a wheelchair, but can't stand for long periods of time, and just emptying out that queue as fast as possible will solve a lot. Trying to think of what else we talked about. We talked about the table. What else can we talk about? I'm just thinking about just the queue itself. We'll get to the stage. I know I'm going to think about 5 things else. I'm going to think about like 5 more things about the meet and greet that I talked about that I'm just like blanking on at the moment, because we're already how long are we in? We're 2 hours into the stream. So I'll remember. So the next issue from ADA standpoint we had was the panel. So I'll speak just for the audience first. We maxed out of wheelchair seats in there. So I talked to them about expanding the amount of seats in the theaters for people. And they said, like, for us, like our panel filled all the way up. What I don't like is people complaining without solutions. So I did my best to come up with a solution. Doesn't mean it have to be the solution or the perfect solution, but at least it's a jumping off point to like figure out how to make things better for people. Because like genuinely, like I hate just blind hate towards any like thing. And just like yelling bad at something doesn't help anything, but like coming up with a solution, even if, like I said, it's not the solution, but it's at least a starting point to work off of. So that's why like I spent a lot of time trying to think of solutions. So one of the things was like, yes, we need more wheelchair seats in the theater. The queues outside of the theaters need to have more of like a marked off like ADA, like this is the marked off area for ADA. Along with, once again, chairs. Like really important that we put chairs along there, because not everybody's in a wheelchair. Some people might have a cane, or maybe they don't have anything, but are just, you know, can't stand for long periods of time. So having an actual chair lining those spots is important. Second would be, I asked them about like a disability coordinator for the event, somebody that can like deal with issues in the time. They said they had somebody that oversees like with the convention, all encompassing things like ADA, prayer rooms, a bunch of different things. But I was like, you kind of need like a rapid response team, like at a hospital. You need like 3 or 2 people, something like that, that could just, you know, if there's something on the radio that's like an ADA issue, they can just go and immediately solve solution. Like that is their dedicated and only job, is that. And that's probably my biggest like ask, was to have somebody like that could help and deal with anything that comes over the radio that's a ADA issue. So queue wise, making sure there's chairs, making sure it's a dedicated queue. So making sure that there's that. And then what was the other thing? And for me, that yes, they had a way to get onto the stage for the panel. Some people were like, why are you not more mad about the stage in MCC? Because that's not a safety issue. And as I said before, I only really get mad about safety issues. And what happened was, when my concentrator got plugged in, apparently there was a dispute with like the stage crew and like the electrical union, and that these people weren't allowed to touch the electrical, and they unplugged it. So halfway through the panel, I started hearing my concentrator beep because it was running on battery, and about 45 minutes in, it died. And when I got off the stage, I'm like, Dad, is this another broken battery? Like it only lasted first of all, it should have been plugged in. Maybe something got unplugged. I don't know what happened, but like it's dead again. He's like, oh gosh, I'm going to call those people and tell them about this another broken battery. And then later I found out like, yeah, there was like a dispute between the people, like the venue, like and contractors or vendors and the electricity. I will say this flat out like, this is not Twitch's fault. The Twitch representative tried everything they could to deal with that. They were like, we, based on this contract, this like union contract, cannot plug in things to this outlet, and like they wouldn't do it. And if I had like known, I would have just plugged it in. But so like, I don't blame Twitch, because they deal with a lot of like third-party vendors, and they have their own set of rules that they will or will not do, and it just becomes a little bit of a little mess. Like, the person that we worked with the panel couldn't have been more nice and tried everything she could in her power to make everything happen the right way. So like, I do not like fault her at all. But what that union and this and that were doing, like, I still am like a little bit in the dark exactly what happened, but we thought when we plugged it in that it was ready to go. Skiz helped me plug it in. And Skiz was also like on the ready, like in case I could stop breathing. He had like the inhaler in case something happened. And so, yeah, that was probably the thing that frustrated me the most. And like I said, like, I do not blame Twitch on this. They dealt with like a roadblock with some kind of like electrical union and the vendors who wouldn't touch this, and they couldn't touch that, and they refused, and it was like a whole weird series of events. So that's probably what people say, like, why are you not mad about the stage? Is because I'm more mad about safety issues like that. And that was probably the frustrating thing that I expressed to them pretty thoroughly. That was like not great, and they totally got the message. Like, I get that people want to just hate on Twitch, but they genuinely want to fix these things. Like, this wasn't just them just like, oh, we're just going to listen to you and hope that appeases you or your audience. Like, they genuinely like were taking down notes the whole time and like scheduling like a call. Like, I'm going to talk to that vendor and figure out why this happened. I'm going to talk to this person. We've already implemented these 3 things. So yeah, so that's, that was frustrating. That was frustrating. For MCC, they heard you loud and clear that, you know, anybody on a wheelchair should go on the stage. The head of Rivals sent me a message within like less than 24 hours and said that they were going to immediately, like, this was a oversight, and they were going to immediately like redesign the stage for next year. So that was cool. Like, just like immediately, like, we totally understand this is not right. We're going to fix this immediately. For me, for that, like, when we got off the stage and we were backstage, like, Jem had already saw people talking about that on Twitter. And like, to me, I think I have been so desensitized to accessibility issues that it didn't faze me really. Like, I've been through so much in my life of being in a wheelchair. I've seen it literally all, that just getting on the stage is like not the biggest deal to me, but I want to advocate for the person who does want to get on the stage. If there is another Rivals participant that's in a wheelchair or just needs like assistant getting upstairs, I want to make sure that person gets on the stage 100%. So like me, I'm just like, it's not going to bother me too much. But what bothers me is the person that does want to get on the stage, who wants to be able to do that. So that's the person that I'll advocate for. So yeah, so they are going to fix that. They are going to, they mentioned, like, so the head of Rivals said, like, she will have preliminary like drawings of the stage sometime early next year, and she wants me to like review them, make sure like everything, like anything I can see that could get fixed, I can do. She also mentioned like they might redesign the desks and stuff like that. So if there's any like ADA things that she could do to improve them more, she wants my feedback on that too. So that's good. Like I'm happy that they are making those changes. And what about your microphone? I brought that up also. That was difficult to talk over that speaker. That was, yeah. So like I mentioned, like for people who are on those far ends, they have to have that speaker moved. because that speaker is like killing the audio for the person that's like on the far end of pink or on the other side. I forgot which color it would be on the other end of it. So I brought that up for sure. Let's see. I'm trying to think. We went through so much, so I'm kind of like blank in the head at the moment. Like I'm trying to. This was over an hour and a half like call with them going over this. So, I discussed there's a light situation at MCC, very specifically that there's a series of lights that turn on when we are in between games, and it's a really like very white harsh light that also like kills the camera, and that does get kind of into your brain a little bit. Like that light really gets in your eyes, and I know quite a few contestants got pretty bad headaches. That light's pretty intense. So we talked about lighting. We went over like some of that. I'm trying to think. We went over that. We went over the stage. We went over the desks. We went over general like tripping hazards. We went over increase the amount of ADA seats in the stadium. We talked about, let's see. I'm trying to remember. I'm like going over my head like everything we discussed. Anything I'm missing? False basically disappear. I know there's some. It did make for some funny memes for sure. The sound was loud. I mean, yeah, but like that's one that's true. That's a sound is a tricky one. All those things were brought up, like from a solution standpoint. Like, I think it is difficult always to make everything 100%, but I think a lot of these changes will make it much more comfortable for people. Let's see. ASL interpreters. I believe there was interpreters for MCC. If there wasn't, let me know. I can always email them again. Let me know if there wasn't. There should have been. If there wasn't, please let me know and I'll email them about that. If there wasn't, yeah, let me know, because I believe there was. I didn't get any feedback on interpreters for MCC, but if that's something I just didn't see, please let me know. I'll forward that back to them. Yeah, let me know on that for sure. That's an important thing. But I didn't see any feedback on that, so yeah, let me know on that one. There wasn't analysts available online. Okay, so there wasn't like captions for the stream. Okay, that's something I'll bring up for sure. I didn't see that feedback when I originally got it. Did you talk about security? Okay, yeah, we can talk about security for what I can talk about. I talked about resources with security with them. Shoot, what was it? Oh, security. I talked about resources. So, to contrary to belief, there was a massive amount of security at TwitchCon. I think the massive amount of security was misallocated in many different areas. So, when you come into TwitchCon, you are sniffed by dogs. You are searched. Your bags are searched. Like, I'm just talking from our perspective. When we come in backstage, the car is sniffed by a dog. They check your bags. So then they escort you with Amazon Protective Services to a lounge. And that's where it falls apart. Is that I told them that they have a massive amount of security for escorting, but that is such a misuse of security. In my personal opinion, that bulk of those security should be at places where people know said streamers are going to be. So, for instance, you should have Amazon Protective Service, like the real, like the big fellas. You should have those people behind every streamer doing a meet and greet. You should have those like people next to every panel stage. For rivals, those guys should be there. These very like capable, like the men and women behind this group of people are incredibly capable. They have some wild pasts of doing stuff like in the government and stuff. If you talk to them, they're really cool and they've got some wild stories. And those people should be more used in that context. In my opinion, this is how I express to them. Like, I'm no expert in security, but I feel like instead of have them just doing escorts to the meet and greet and then walk away, those people need to be behind the streamer at the meet and greet. Those people need to be at these places, because these places, this is where people know that a streamer is going to be, and that's where they may cause a problem. So those people being there is a good line of defense. If they're in a camera angle, tough beans. If they're a little too close to the streamer, like I feel like that's fine. Like, just have them be there, because like at our meet and greet when they did their lockdown, they had those guys there. They had actual uniformed law enforcement, but they were gone within an hour. And I told them that. I was like, those guys were there, but within an hour they were all gone. And those people need to be like at those places. So that's something I did tell them. Like, they need to maybe reallocate some of that security. I also told them from a security standpoint, having streamers behind tables is a tiny line of protection, but it also helps. If somebody were to do what they did to that poor other streamer, there's also like a table that person's going to have to get over, which is not going to prevent it 100%, but what it does is it gives time for security to intervene. I also, going back to the meet and greet, talked about the rudeness that was shown towards a lot of our people in the queue from some of the staff there. And I want to make sure I did bring that up, that there was a lot of kind of rude comments towards people, especially when like asked about, hey, can I go to the bathroom? Can I do this? It's like, you can't expect somebody to wait 2 hours and not be able to go to the bathroom. So I want to make sure I did bring that up. I'm just recapping an hour and a half conversation that was like nonstop discussion. So I'm like trying to remember everything as I go. So a table in front of a streamer, security behind the streamer if they were to, feel comfortable doing a meet and greet. So that was one thing I brought up for security. I brought up bags. So what I was told, because I believe somebody had an issue with their medicine, which I've had personally in the past too, that this medicine is cleared to come in. They should not have had that problem. And so what I told them as a solution to security issues is, going through security with a bag that has like medical stuff in it. You need like a flow chart. Like, hey, person with disabilities comes in, person has medicine. Here's a chart of exactly how I should do it, instead of trying to remember a briefing that they had on Friday and now it's Sunday and they forgot. Does that make sense? Like, they need like an actual piece of paper to say like, okay, this is what I do when I encounter this issue. This is the solution I came with. I don't know if it's a good solution, but it's a solution nonetheless that at least could be worked on. Like, hey, here is a piece of paper. Person with disabilities, check. Move down the line. Person has medication. Let me double check. Perfect. Okay, you're good to go. This, to me, that's how I would do it. But I also have never organized anything like this in my life, so I don't know if that's completely ridiculous or not. But I'm like, if security has something like that, I feel like that's better than maybe like a meeting that they were in. They had it like 6 a.m. and everyone's tired and like half remembers what was said. But instead of having like a laminated card, it's like, okay, this is what you do. Or, hey, we need to check with the disability coordinator to come down and check on something. Like that, those are all things I feel like is reasonable. I don't know. I try and do my best. So there was that. There was the bag. I also suggested, this might be another thing that's not great, but Twitch gives you a tote bag when you check in. It's a little black bag. And I told them there's a lot of issues with people wanting to bring in a bag and needing to bring in a bag for, say, medicine or maybe some snacks that are needed to keep like sugar levels leveled. You might need a couple different food items to, keep you steady. And those shouldn't be an issue going through security. So what I suggested was clear tote bags that are like backpack straps or something like that. Like a bag that's clear, and they could put a branding on it, and maybe some sponsor could put a sponsor on the back. But what it is it's clear. It's big enough to put stuff in, and you could put that on your back, and it's not going to cause like a problem. Wait, you can't bring a bag in? No, you can to a certain extent, but there's like size requirements. It's a whole thing. So a lot of these policies, if we go back to why they were implemented in 2017 in San Jose because of that horrific murder of a content creator, that singer back in the day. And after that happened, they implemented the like security measures at TwitchCon. So that meant like full security, no bags, all of those different things. So after that horrific incident is when Twitch like started like doing the no bags, the no like the pretty intense security measures. So it's like there is a reason they do these things, and we have to kind of go back in time to be like, why? Because the first TwitchCon, they had no security. You just walked right in the building. The second TwitchCon in San Diego had like really mild security, but not all doors had security. And then by 2017, they had done a lot after that horrific incident. So there is a reason why they do it. It's just they can always improve and do better is what I was trying to get through to them, especially for people with disabilities deal with a lot, and they don't need extra hassles every step of their life. Let's see. Where were we? You remember San Francisco had no security? Dude, they had no security at all. Dude, it was like chill. It was chill as can be. It's freaking so chill. But yeah, it's because clear bags are used at other mass venues. And so I've seen, like, looked it up, and like that is a way to deal with that, is just have like a clear bag that's used at other big events and stuff. So I'm like, okay, that could be a solution. So to allow people to have bigger bags and be able to bring more stuff into the event. Let's see. Trying to think. What else? There's so much we talked about. I'm trying to remember everything. Spark my memory, guys. What other issues were there? ADA security lines. I brought that up. Apparently, some entrances didn't have ADA lines, and some did. And I think one of the things that was also brought up was some of the concerns. There were solutions, but their way of explaining or documenting those to people was poor. So I think like a flyer too for like accessibility things, like put into the bag that you used when you check in and you get a little bag. There should be like a flyer in there that explains like ADA accommodations throughout the building. Because like she was saying, like some people were mentioning we didn't have this or this, but we did, but there might be a communication issue that we had that, but it wasn't communicated to the people. So we need to do a better job of communicating what is available. And I was like, oh, like a flyer that says like, hey, this is what we have available. We have sensory issue rooms. We have this and this and this and this and this. We just need to make sure that's also communicated to people. And then the other thing too is like she mentioned, like if you have a ticket for a meet and greet, it doesn't mean you have to check in at that exact moment. But to me, I was thinking like if the meet and greet is entirely full, I think if you check in at the beginning of the meet and greet or at the end, it still probably kind of has the same problem. But I think the idea of making sure to communicate what is available is important. I think there really should be that flyer put into the bag. And like somebody mentioned, like, do they have an app? They do. And I don't remember if that had information on it or not. But sometimes people just need to have that little like flyer that says like, hey, this is what we have. So at least that the things that they do have is communicated to people. Because there are like I mentioned, there are quite a few things that they do have, but I think it was just not communicated. The tiny table was sad. I know we talked about the tiny table. I brought that up. I brought that up. But I think that sometimes you just need to literally have a physical piece of paper. And because if you're looking on your phone under the app, the frequently asked questions and the 3 dotted menu drop down and then the click and the clock, and then you got to lick the phone to activate the special feature and the whole thing. No, just a piece of paper that says ... is so much better than being like, it's on the app somewhere. Let's see. Why did they give you a tiny table? I can only speculate that there's an area behind the stage of the meet and greet that's like a little area with like water and like a couple of couches and chairs to wait for your meet and greet. And I think they just took what was in there, and what they could get through the door was the end table, and that's what they put there. I think that's probably what happened. Let's see. Wasn't there faceless streamers or asked to unmask? I did not hear about that, but I could see that being a problem if like there was like a VTuber or something along those lines, for sure. Yeah, I did not hear about that. I did bring up the part that did happen where people's stuff was thrown away at the meet and greet. And I brought up how my stickers were thrown away. One thing I was told was like the meet and greets were mostly ran by a third party. And that was a concern to me because they were priorly run by like Twitch itself. And I think they really should go back to working with doing it more internal than doing a third party that manages it. That was a piece of feedback I gave. So I'm trying to think. I know there's more stuff because I had that was a long 1.5-hour conversation. I'm trying to remember. There was a lot of stuff. I'm just like drawing a blank now. I'm like, I know there was more stuff I brought up. Was there enough places to sit? We did talk a lot about making sure there was ample seating within the theater and MCC for wheelchair spots where wheelchairs could roll in, and just general ADA seats. And second would be the queues for those different events, making sure there was a dedicated ADA queue with actual chairs along that line so people who could sit down. So that was important. Like I said, I don't know if they are the solution, but it's better to come with something to get the ball rolling than nothing. I don't like to just sit there and complain. I want to give like an attempt of a solution, like I said, to get the ball rolling. But as for private security, I would imagine a bigger streamer would be able to have a +1 as their security. I would imagine that they could have that done. But I know for sure, like, I don't know anybody who could afford private security. Nobody in my orbit could do that. So if somebody can, that's great. But yeah, nobody in our orbit can afford that. Amber had her own security. I believe that's right. That jogged a memory. The person who kind of like got in there and like helped her out, saved her, was her own security. That's right. Yeah. Like, but that's like we can't afford that. We can't afford that. We did have a thing before we started, was that if anybody, we know our audience, that's not going to happen with our audience. But if anything were to happen, my stance was with like the guys was, if anything happens in the first or second meet and greet, you put the person on the ground until actual uniformed law enforcement arrive. Like nothing, that's just how it'll happen. That's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to happen. Get on the ground until an actual uniformed person arrives. That's just how it works. There's no ifs and or buts. That's how it was going to work. But like I told, like, after that horrible incident happened on Friday, like Anthony was like, dude, like if you guys don't want to do the Minecraft meet and greet, that's totally fine. Like Anthony was super cool about it. He's like, we'll bring extra security if you do. And we're like, bro, we know our audience. we know our audience. Like, we're okay. We're gonna be okay. We appreciate the thought, and yeah, extra security is great. But we're like, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. But appreciate the looking out for us, Anthony. Okay, so yeah, security wise, like I said, I had quite a few suggestions on how to like really utilize what they have, because what they have, there is a lot. It's just what it needs to be is reallocated, in my opinion, into different places. You shouldn't secure a lounge like a fortress. You need to secure the area where the person who is vulnerable will be at. That's in my personal opinion, where security should be allocated. Let's see, meet and greet. That's communication on our meet and greet was rough, because we were told going in that there was no +1s, but apparently +1s were eventually allowed in. As for cutting off meet and greets, this and that, the only issue I heard with cutting off a meet and greet was the improv Green and Jimmy meet and greet, because that wasn't an official meet and greet. So I know there was some problems with that one. Um, and then the length of them is such a problem. The length is too much. I know that. Oh, like so you do a meet and greet queue like a pharmacy where you pull a tag and you're like you're number 32 or something. That's interesting because there is like an allocated amount of tickets, and then those people line up. A rep per hermits. Yes. So let's talk about that. At the event, I specifically asked for a partner manager 3 times, and why I've been a little bit pushy about this is that I have organized all the events for the last good while, and once like we submit a panel and it gets approved, I then at least have like some line of communication now with somebody, but having a proper contact at Twitch that we could help with some stuff for the charity event streams, or getting like a little bit ahead of TwitchCon or something like that in the future, and being able to express these concerns ahead of time, like have somebody be like, hey, yeah, we'll get you a proper size table, not a kid's table, something like that. So I have expressed that now to a number of people that hermits need that rep. And I've also spoke to them about it at that meeting, that hermits need that rep. And like I told them, like every time we deal with Twitch, they have nothing but nice things to say about Hermitcraft. They have nothing but nice things to say about the members of the group. And they often always use the word like, we had no idea the group was so big. And I cheekily responded to them, was like, yeah, like we fly under the radar. We create content and entertainment, not drama for views. And that's how we fly under the radar all the time. Like we're not here like stirring up nonsense all the time. We're creating entertainment for our audience and having fun together. And so we don't always make a lot of noise, but we also have like a huge, great, amazing community. And we could use some support in managing it to make the best possible streaming and content we can. So I try to advocate for Hermitcraft as best I can in that regard, because we really, really, really could use like a man on the inside, like to help with some of this stuff. And yeah, so I definitely brought that up. I brought it up at the event, and I brought it up in that call once again. And I get from their perspective, they're like, hey, we're going to try, but do know that like, they lost a lot of their partnership team in the layoffs and over the last year and a half. And like I said, I totally agree. Like 100% sympathy to you guys. Like you guys are actually, I'll say this, every person I've met at Twitch is trying to do the best job with the resources that they have. And that's why I never trash Twitch, because I know the people that I've dealt with are doing the best job with the resources and abilities that they have. And it's like yelling at the cashier at the store because prices went up. That person didn't set the prices. So like, I'm like, that's how I try to at least treat them with respect, and know that sometimes like not all of them have, complete control of every little aspect of things, but I can just advocate the best I can. Why didn't they get bought by Amazon, dude? They got bought by Amazon when I got partnered. I was on Twitch partnered like, I think 3 months before because I streamed before, obviously, but I remember my partnership went through and then the sale went through. I was like, I kind of like the homebrew Twitch. I miss those days. I was never in any of the cliques with Twitch in the old days where like every partner knew each other, but it was a little bit more of a family feeling back then. I could tell. It's just grown so much since then. It's just different. Yeah, you can't yell at like just an employee about layoffs and this and that. They don't control that. That's so much higher than them. Twitch's finances, I'll tell you, my friend, are some of the most complicated things I have ever heard when anything I've ever been told, and it is it is wild. There's a lot of interest, a lot of stuff going on there. Let's see. Thank you for having such a positive outlook. Well, I appreciate it. I try. I'm tired, but I try. I bring back Minecon, dude. I annoy Mojang so much with that, dude. Cub and I fight the good fight, and we'll never let up. Elevator locations, dude. I have never been to a convention that had decent elevators. I think that really comes down to like a proper map too, that says like, hey, here's an elevator that is available. You know what I mean? Like a map that shows, because like I would love a map. And I think that comes down to the ADA pamphlet I talked about. It also could show like elevator locations. I didn't even think of like saying that, like there should be elevator locations on that, but that's a good idea, because you're right, like finding elevators is such a problem. And I've never been to a convention where all the elevators are working. Also, this is going to sound so mean, so I'm so sorry, but it's so true. And once in a while, something true is mean. Like hired staff for conventions, 90% of the time don't know what's going on. They're there just to make a check to get through to the next week. And it sounds terrible, but they don't always know what's going on. And I saw a lot of people ask like staff and not and they just had no idea, or they were rude. I've been to so many conventions where that's been a problem. I almost missed the Hermitcraft 2016 panel because the person told me to go all the way down to this place that was wrong. Then they told me to go up to the top floor, which was wrong. And eventually like I just had to find my own way. In PAX in 2015, this person told us the worst possible way to go, where eventually we ended up in a parking garage and we almost got run over by a car, and it was a whole thing. And eventually we got to the elevator and the elevator was broken. Like I have been sent on so many wild goose chases by just like general event staff that I know sounds mean, but like I don't ask them things anymore, because I've been guys, the stories I could tell you. Guys, we got sent down a hallway, and then we got into the parking garage, and then all of a sudden my dad's just wheeling, and we realized we're like in like a tight, like in the Seattle Convention Center, it's like tight like alleyway where these cars are flying by, and we're like, how did this happen? So it's like I get it. Like those people are just, you know, it's just it's probably like a side job for them. So it's like I don't want to be mean, but I generally don't usually ask them anymore anything, because it's always a wild goose chase. Dude, I've seen it all. I've also been desensitized to a lot of it. So when people bring up like legitimate problems, I'm like, oh yeah, that is a problem. I just have gotten so used to this. But it doesn't mean that's the right thing to be used to it, but I am used to it. And so it's like, oh yeah, I better bring that up, because that is a problem. Bathrooms. I never go to the bathroom at a convention center. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I know there was more stuff. I know like we extensively talked about MCC, the stage, the chairs, the audience situations. I also brought up an idea, like in some cases, if somebody wants to, like, I know this is at other places. I know Disney's done this before, where they have like a side room where if something is overly like stimulating, you could still kind of watch from like a TV, and you know, you could still be there, but you could kind of have your own space for a little bit, even if it's just for a few minutes to kind of like settle for a minute, and you could still see what's going on. Like I did bring that up. I forgot, that was something else I brought up, because I know Disney's done that. I know other venues have that, which I thought wasn't a terrible idea. Because even if it's like you don't want to not be a part of it, but you also sometimes, even if it's just for a few minutes, you want to chill, but also know what's going on, or maybe you just want to be in there. Like you're still here, but you also want to have kind of like a calm room. Like, dude, it sounds awesome to me. What else? What else? Twitch thinks you can watch from your phone. That would be rough. I know for MCC, like our phones were not working. Like nobody had cell phone reception, at least from a contestant standpoint. We were like, we got nothing. They do have at Twitch, and this is a communication issue that they acknowledged, was they do have, like, they call it like quiet sensory rooms, but I think a lot of people didn't know those existed, and why they need to do a better job communicating that to people to make sure they know that those are available. Oh, I get it. Let's see. My brother also disabled. My mom always having to argue with staff at events. I 100% get it. My mom does the same. My mom does the same. Let's see. The AFK lounge is so funny. I assume that's funny in a bad way. Like it's not good. If you have any like thoughts on like how it can be improved, please let me know, or just how it is in general, so I could like brainstorm it a bit. Dude, my mom, I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for my mom advocating for me nonstop. Dude, they were gonna like pump me up with vancomycin, and they fully well knew that I was deadly allergic to it. And they're just like, we're gonna hang some Vanco. And my mom's like, can you check his allergy list? She's like, whoa, she checked his allergy list, right? And I was like, we got it. No worries. And like, no, he will have an anaphylactic reaction if you give him that medicine. Do not hook that medicine up. And eventually it was like, the doctor's like, wait, can you explain this to me? And the nurse is just like, yeah, let's hook up that vancomycin. It sounded like my brother. He's like, it's like cool guy Scar all back again. It's like, hey, we're gonna hook up the vancomycin. And it was like, cool. He was so much like my brother that like, hey guys. And then you know what that really annoyed me about that nurse was? Dude, I was a mess. This is 2021. I was just brought by ambulance to a hospital, and they found I had like multiple critical lab values. They bring me in. I'm like not doing well. I had Rigers so bad that they had to like hold me down for a while because I couldn't stop shaking. The Rigers were so bad. And they finally like stabilized me, right? This happens. They come back and they're like, dude, you have no neutrophils. You've got like 5. There's next to nothing left. And they're like, well, we're going to whatever, like we're going to take you up. And so we're going up to, they're admitting me and they're bringing up, and they're like, we go to the elevator and there's 2 other nurses there, and they're like, going up or down? And the guy goes, hopefully we're not going to the morgue. And I'm just like, what? Hopefully we're not going to the morgue. This thing is, hopefully we're not going to the morgue tonight. We're going upstairs. And I'm like, bro, that's not how you interact with humans. This is why I tell you guys, I'm so desensitized. I'm so I am so desensitized to life now that sometimes like people are like, dude, you should be able to go up on the stage. Like it makes sense. Everybody else is, it's not that hard of a problem. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's what I'm saying. Like when Jem is like, dude, no, you should be able to go up on the stage. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Like I'm just so desensitized and tired nowadays that I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But I don't know. I hope I've been able to communicate. I've been a little all over the place with communicating what I discussed with Twitch. I've been kind of like here, and there, kind of like pulling memories rather than like down a list, which I should have properly made a like a talking point list to make it more coherent. I had notes going in, but I didn't have notes like going out. It was more of like memory. So I apologize if I'm kind of like pulling memories. But I did my best. And like I said before, like they genuinely like wanted to make things right for people. And a lot of times it's not like malicious. It's just somebody needs to be told. And I told them. And I did quite a bit in the past with accessibility, especially for the first 2 TwitchCons. Like I know Deaf Gamers TV did a ton of stuff for sign language interpreting and all that stuff. I know I gave them a bunch of feedback for the first and second TwitchCons. Since then, I was never asked after those anything, and it's the first time like they've come back and like asked for stuff again. I told this to somebody, I forgot who it was at TwitchCon. It was like, it's cruddy having to always like cross your fingers that you're going to encounter somebody, like specifically just speaking of like an airport, like really crossing your fingers that somebody knows the like protocol to deal with a wheelchair and is like just polite. Like you just cross your fingers, because like most people, they get their bag, they go through security, they ignore the flight attendant when the flight attendant says hi to them, good morning, and sit in their seat, get up, ignore the flight attendant when they say bye, thanks for traveling with us, like, and get off. Like when you go there, you know, like, unfortunately, all these people are going to have to help me at some point along this route. And I just hope like that they've been trained and that they're just like remotely polite about it. Like, because it's like a wheelchair person is just constantly in need of some form of assistance along the way. And it's like, it does get exhausting, just like crossing your fingers, like, please do your job. Please. That's how I feel sometimes. Like, I'm like, please don't yell at me. Please don't. Please don't. You do feel like a broken record. David says, you either get desensitized or feel like you're a broken record. Yeah, that's exactly true. When you're trying to advocate for something and you do like, I'm bringing this up again. And sometimes you just stop and like hope for the best, and it always turns out the worst. So it's like, then you get back onto advocating for yourself. That makes you feel like a broken record constantly. So it's, yeah, it is exhausting. I've definitely have had the different like ups and downs with this. I think I went through a pretty horrible down in the last like 2 or 3 years. I brought that up a lot in my vlog that I uploaded before TwitchCon, that I had gotten to just such a negative space in so many ways. And one of them was just like constantly tired of being told no, or like realizing like I can't do that and I can't do this. And it can really get you. Like I've said this, like, you know, sometimes when, I don't know, I've kind of noticed this, if this makes sense, you know, you kind of become disabled, or you're kind of aware of it, or maybe you've just born with it in your entire life, or however it has come to you. Like there's a part where it's like really hard to deal with. And then you kind of like come out and you're like, yeah, I'm victorious. And you're good for a little bit. And then you go, oh God, I hate this. And it's kind of this up and down thing of like, I'm dealing with it. I'm doing great. And then it's like, I'm not doing great. I'm not dealing with it well. And I've come to realize, having gone up and down the valley a few times, that this is just the way it's going to be. And there's not like this moment where you're like, I'm free of being beaten down by this. It's always going to be kind of like an up and down. What am I hiring Mumbo for? Are we hiring Mumbo again for security? Because I think somebody said that before. You're like, Mumbo's tall, hire him for security. I told you once about the time, dude, I swear, the amount of times that hermits have like saved me from like getting hurt. I told you guys about the time when like somebody had opened the door like at Minecon Live in Nashville. Like we pulled up because I think we took an Uber, and I had to get one of the big fella cars. And so it was real high up, like a Suburban. And the person at the hotel opened the door. And that's always the most awkward thing when you're in a wheelchair, when the valet opens the door for you. It's happened like 3 or 4 times. One time because we accidentally took a wrong turn and we drove into this really fancy vineyard in Napa when we were just kind of driving around when we lived in California. My dad's like, oh, shoot, I'm going the wrong way. We pull into this like very, very fancy vineyard. And this person in a suit comes and opens my door. And I just close it. But when we pulled up to the hotel after we did that meet and greet in Nashville, the valet person at the hotel opens the door, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm like, I guess what I'm trying to explain is that sometimes the valet people expect you to stand up, and I hate having to explain. It's like, I can't. I can't. And then they feel awkward and I feel awkward. We all feel awkward. But they opened the door and this time the person just walked away. And it was another time where it was like, ask Joe, it was like 90 degrees with 100% humidity. And I was loopy in the brain. I was shot. And I just kind of like got kind of dizzy. And I just like kind of like leaned a little bit too much. And I like kind of like grasped for something to grab. And like Mumbo just like was standing there and just instantly like caught me like by the shoulder. And I was like, dude, if I would have fallen out of that car, I probably would have broken something. Like, Mumbo saved me. Mumbo saved me. But dude, getting out, the classic valet asking you to get out, and you just it hasn't happened very many times, but it's awkward every time. It's a Mumbo W. Yep. We love Mumbo. Oh, love Mumbo. Mumbo's the best. Mumbo's the best. It was fun. It was so fun hanging out with Mumbo in Nashville in 2019. Mumbo called me a what? Mumbo didn't call me his comfort streamer. What are you talking about? Oh, that's funny. You mean my brother's ex-girlfriend? Wait, he did? What does that even mean? There's no way Mumbo's ever watched me live ever. That man is in some timberline somewhere right now. He's probably like chasing a bear. I bet he's chasing a bear right now and photographing it and creating like a beautiful piece of art at the same time, saving the town. The bear was attacking a small French Alps town, and all the French people were so scared, and Mumbo comes in there, raw, and he scares the bear, all while taking a great image and a great video, and then saves the town. And then they named the town Mumbo Land. Mumbo's not watching my streams. He watches in a cave in Tibet. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That's so funny. Yeah, I'm pretty happy I made it out of TwitchCon without getting sick. I am quite happy about that. I do kind of go a little crazy, I'll be honest. Like, you know, people come into my room and they think it smells like a hospital, but you know, I'm doing my best. Man, the poor person who cleaned the rooms must go in there and be like, what is going on in here? This is a distillery in here? Hey, it does work. I haven't had a cold. I haven't had like a virus of any kind since 2019. I've never had COVID. I haven't had the flu since I was 10. I got a lot else wrong, but that's the one thing I've avoided. Like I've avoided all of that. If you were around me for long enough, like you probably noticed, like I wash my hands a lot. I wash my hands a lot. It's like what I do to stay from getting sick is what I do is kind of intense, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody who wants to keep a sane mind. But if you are at an event, I recommend a few small things that you could do that's not going to like make you go insane, and that's make sure you are up on your vitamin D, so make sure you have that. Second is to make sure you have just a bottle of hand sanitizer. So when you are going to go eat, when you are going to the bathroom, different places, just make sure you use that. And the biggest thing is like, you're never going to really escape, aerosol particles, but you can avoid the things you touch and like put in your mouth. So if you're touching lots of stuff and you scratch your eye, hand in your mouth or something like that, that is such a thing that you can prevent very easily by not like taking the germs from your hands and bringing it into the vectors of least defense in your body as your eyes and your mouth and stuff like that. There's like little tiny things you can do. Just wash your hands. Don't touch your mouth. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your eyes. Those are some things you can do. If you don't want to get as crazy as I do, you just don't go down that route. But I got a bad head. I got a bad head because I often see like path of like grossness. I'm like, these wheels from my wheelchair rolled through an airport that somebody just walked out of the bathroom, and now like I'm touching that wheel, or these suitcases just, you know, went through through a conveyor belt that thousands of bags just went through. Then it was on the floor of the airplane. Then it was on the floor of this car. Then it was on the floor of this shuttle. Then it was on the floor here. And now I put it on my bed right where I'm sitting. And I'm like, oh dear, my brain starts spinning a little bit. Need gloves. I'm not a glove guy. Most people think a glove is like some kind of like antimicrobial surface, which it is not. Gloves should only be used for tasks. So if you put on a glove sterilely and you do said task, you take glove off. Most people just put gloves on and touch everything, and then their gloves have been exposed to 1,000 different surfaces. And then they're like, well, that's the same as your hands, but you're not washing your gloves. You would have washed your hands. So I've always been like, I've never been a proponent of people using gloves. Gloves should only be used like, especially in like a medical setting where glove goes on, task is complete, glove goes off. Like just using gloves, like sometimes you see it like in kitchens where they're like touching this and that, but they have the gloves on. I'm like, bro, I'd rather you just wash your hands than put the gloves on, because now you've touched money with the gloves, you've touched the bread with the gloves, you touched every faucet, everything with the gloves on, but you never actually washed your hands. Because for whatever reason, you think the glove is some kind of antimicrobial surface. It's not. Gloves are for tasks. Gloves on, task done, gloves off. I'm a little weird. Sorry. It drives me crazy when I see gloves misused. I've spent so much time in the hospitals that like this stuff rubs off on me. So I'm like, it's just the way my brain works. Yeah, when I see people misuse gloves, I'm just like, that's not how that works. It's not how that works. It's not how that works. Yeah, it's you just have to think of the vectors of things, right? Of like what you touch and stuff. If you're trying to be sterile, like say you're doing something that needs to be clean for whatever reason, and you just think of like the vectors of what's touched, what's not, how it works. Just work through the problem, and it's how my brain always works. It's like I said, I don't want people to be as crazy as I am. Like just wash your hands. If you're worried about getting sick in an event, wash your hands often. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your eyes. It will help. You're not gonna solve a lot of like aerosol like particles in the air, but the larger things, the larger water droplets, the stuff that's on surfaces and stuff, you can at least cut that out. At least cut that vector out easily. Yeah, you work with kids, wash your hands. Yeah, that's where you're just coming into like aerosol like particles, where it's just, you know, there's not a lot you can do about those. There's not a lot you can do about those, unfortunately. You can use certain masks that are designed for aerosol particles, but believe me, they're very uncomfortable. But there are some things, but not very easily fixable things. That's a good point. Drying your hands is important. My mom always reminds my dad of that. If you're going to wash your hands, you actually need to make sure they are dried. That's true. That's really true. The kids cough with their mouths wide open. Here's another one. I'm sorry, I'm grossing you guys out, but this is how my brain works. When people like cough into their hand, and then they're like, hey, nice to meet you. And I'm like, hey, you should, if you're going to cover your mouth when you cough, you should go like this. You should go like that, not into the hand, because then you're just transferring onto your hand. Think of the vectors, and then like shaking, whatever. It's like this. That's or just turn or whatever like that. But yeah, not like this. That not good. Not good. I got a little crazy. I'll be honest. I got a little crazy after I got sick in 2018 during the Civil War in Hermitcraft. Went to Disneyland and got a very severe. So 2018 got a severe coronavirus, and it was bad. I was in the hospital for 8 days, and not COVID, but it was a coronavirus of the family of the corona. And then after that, I got a little bit crazy because I was like, I want to do what I can to minimize that as much as I can. You can't prevent it 100%, but at least you could do a few things to, like, you know, cut down a little bit. And corona. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. I missed the freaking Civil War. I come back and, you know, the whole server's on fire. Cubs profiting off the war like crazy, and I'm like, bro, help me, get me into these profits. Like, I came was blazing in there. I think, if I remember right, I think as I was leaving to go to Disneyland, I believe I was on the G team at one point, but I can't confirm that. It's just in my head that was discussed like the day before I left. But when I got back, I saw Cut with the profits. I'm like, dude, the Vex forever, you know? Got to make some cash. Cub made so many diamonds off of that war. It was so funny. Cub is just this like middleman in the middle of the warfare, and people are buying like TNT and stuff from him. It was so funny. He did so good with that. It's insane that season 7 was in 2020. Yeah, I mean, that war was in 2018.